And now the next case.
Party's on. Lehman versus Morris. Step forward, please.
22-year-old Kelly Lehman says she made a deal with her best friend April Morris to take over the payments on her truck and pay for repairs. She's suing because April's ex-husband, James, repossessed it.
It's not every case that has a moral. This case has a moral. You know what that is?
Yes.
You know what the moral is?
Don't do business with friends.
That's one, but the other one would be never get in the middle of two people who are getting a divorce. It's always a mistake. Right? Ms. Lamont, according to your papers, the defendant was a friend of yours. She and her husband were divorcing. You the husband?
Yes.
And I'm sure in addition to other things, there was a truck that they wanted to sell, or that she wanted to sell. There were payments due and owing on the truck. You made an arrangement with her to take over the payments on the truck and to do substantial repairs that were on the truck.
Correct.
You paid the money for the repairs. You didn't have the truck in your possession at that time.
No, I did not.
The truck is in the shop.
Correct.
And you kept paying.
I made one payment.
In August.
In August, correct.
And according to these papers, for most of the month of August, the truck was still in the shop.
Yes.
And you're going to tell me why you did that in a minute. And then, in the divorce, according to your answer, he got possession of the truck, and he came and took it out of her driveway. Is that this case?
Well, it was parked on the street.
Or took it from the street. So you want to be paid back for all the repairs you did on the truck, for the payment that you made on the truck, and then there's something here about punitive damages, which is really nonsense.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
We started getting in a fight after her boyfriend said that he was attracted to me after we had gone out one night together.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kelly Lehman says she made a deal with her best friend April Morris to take over the payments on her truck and pay for repairs. April and her ex-husband James say they repossessed the truck because Kelly made the payments late.
So let's hear about this deal.
Okay, well, April and I have been friends since the first day of high school. I needed a more dependable vehicle. She had it. I said, okay, we made this arrangement. At the time when the payment came due for the August payment, I didn't want to make it. I didn't have the truck. Why should I make it if I didn't own it?
Why do you think she should have made payment on the truck if the truck wasn't in her possession?
It was her agreement with me that she would make that first payment. And we thought that the body work that needed to be done would be done a lot sooner.
But it wasn't. Didn't it seem unfair to you that she had
It wasn't
made
my fault.
hundreds of...
It wasn't my fault that she agreed to make the payment.
But didn't it seem unfair to you? This is a friend of yours. Didn't it seem unfair to you that you had this truck that needed all kinds of repairs in order to make it drivable? Because there's stuff that was needed on the clutch and the bodywork and the muffler, things that she didn't know about at the beginning.
She knew about everything, and it was her choice.
The muffler was never told that it needed a new muffler.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Don't... Hey.
I was never told that the windshield was cracked. I was never told that the truck had actually been rolled and that there was more damage to it than that was apparently done to it.
The truck wasn't rolled.
Gives you another good lesson.
Right.
You don't buy a pig in a poke. If you're going to start spending money on something, you take a look at it, even if you're dealing with a friend. So you made the August payment.
Late. She made it late when she promised to make it on time.
She made it late, but at the time that she made it, she still didn't have the vehicle in her possession.
That wasn't my fault, though. But she didn't have a problem with it.
Whose fault is it? It wasn't my fault, madam. The truck was in your possession, under your control when it was damaged. Wasn't under her control when it was damaged.
She didn't have a problem with making that payment until we got in a fight over her boyfriend.
How much did you spend on this truck altogether?
Oh, I've spent a total of $1,053.38.
$1,053
and 38 cents.
38 cents. And that includes the bills that you have to show me for the repairs, as well as the 1 month's payment for August. You don't deny that she paid you this money?
I don't know what she's giving you.
Okay, show it to her.
At the time that the repairs were being done, I was told it would be a matter of days when I had given her the money, and it ended up taking like 2 weeks.
And that was not my fault. I kept mailing checks to the body shop, and they kept telling me they didn't receive them.
It's always somebody else's fault. You keep saying, it's not my fault, it's not my fault, it's not my fault. It's not her fault. You, step up here, I have a question for you. What's your name?
James.
James, you went and took the truck off the street.
Yes.
Did you know she had made all these repair payments? Look at me, James. Don't look at the floor. Did you know she had made all the repairs?
Yeah.
Well, didn't you think it was wrong to go and take the truck?
No.
Why not?
She didn't do everything she said she was going to do.
You're talking about this September payment that she didn't make on time. You repossessed this truck from her September 12th.
By the law,
No,
you
not
have to have
September 12th.
insurance on the vehicle. She didn't have insurance on the vehicle.
Did you ever discuss it? I mean, you were friends. Is that right?
Jim was
They were
not even
friends.
involved.
Just a second. If you were friends with her, that means you knew each other. You had socialized in each other's homes. Your
Yes.
children played. Is that true?
Kind of.
They never got along. They
never
never
got
got along.
I
He
could
can't
understand
stand her.
that. That's very understandable.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Well, right now, she's out all this money, and you got the truck. And you were awarded the truck in the divorce, sir. Is
Yes.
that right?
That's right.
How many cars did your family have?
2.
2. You had the truck, and what kind of car did you have?
A Ford Escort?
Uh-huh. So you agreed between the two of you that you would keep the Escort and you would keep the truck. Is that correct?
But we also agreed that if she made the payments on time, as soon as our divorce was finalized, that we would sign and let her refinance the truck. But after we got in a fight, she didn't want to refinance. She said, I'm going to do what I want. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't take the vehicle from me. She refused to get insurance until it was in her name. Therefore, she's driving around a vehicle that we owe a lot of money on still. She did not make the, okay, granted, give her the first month. She did make the payment on time. If you say she didn't have the vehicle, even though she agreed and it wasn't my fault, the second month, she came up with an excuse. I don't have the money. I can't make it till it's late. She breached our agreement first. And when he took the truck, he took it on his own. I had nothing to do with it. The
Ms.
payment
Morris,
was late.
right now there is something inequitable about you having a totally fixed truck and her having nothing but the bills.
No. We offered to make her payments. They wouldn't accept it. They wanted all the money up front.
She paid all of it up front, $1,053.38.
Well,
Can I have the bills, please?
She didn't
Make it in
I
payments.
don't agree with all of this.
Miss Morris, I don't care what you agree with. There is something
You asked
inequitable.
Me, you asked me,
Hey,
I'm telling you.
now I'm asking you to be quiet. You, sir, are driving around in a truck where she fixed the bodywork, she fixed the clutch, she fixed the muffler, she fixed the windshield, and you got
She
a
didn't
brick.
fix the
She didn't
windshield.
fix no windshield.
Strike windshield. And you're driving around in the truck. You should have taken care of this yourself. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,053.38. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. I'll back to your right, please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next,
Forward, please.
32-year-old Jacqueline Levitt is suing the father of her child, Jean Carlos Felix, because she loaned him money to buy computer equipment and was never repaid.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 300 on the calendar in the matter of Levitt versus Felix. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated.
Relationship with the defendant. That relationship produced a child, a son.
Yes.
And that during that 5-year relationship, you made loans to him well in excess of $5,000.
Yes.
Relationship terminated.
Yes.
You want your money.
Yes.
And you say,
That's not how it happened.
tell me about it.
Well, we were in a relationship for about, I'd say, a year, almost a year. And he had a computer portrait business, and he wanted to enhance his computer equipment. So he came to me and asked me for a loan. And so I said, well, okay, it's understood that it's a loan. And he said, yeah, any money that I ask of you, I want, it's going to be a loan. I'm going to pay it back. And I said, okay. So I made a record of it. I made a record of everything, you know, because it's a business loan. And so
Take it out. Show me First, show him.
No, I've seen it already.
You've seen it? Okay.
This is all the
Okay.
checks and our relationship. He paid me back some money, you know, and so he got a job like this year in July, and he's telling me that he gets paid like $4,000 a month. But yet he's not going to pay me back my money because, you know, I was stupid, I was gullible, I believed everything that he said to me. He used me. He took advantage of my kindness, and we were together for 5 years.
And you say?
We met maybe back in 91 or 92, you know. She came in to get insurance for me. And she's been calling me ever since. And then a week later, I decided to go out with her. And after a couple of months, it just didn't work out. Okay, I said, look, it's not going to work out. You know, you just fresh off a relationship, you're insecure, you low self-esteem and everything, you know. Just, I don't want to go out with you, okay? And she started crying, okay? She's like, she grabbed my legs. And she's like, please don't leave me. I don't want to be alone. I don't want this, I don't want that, okay? I said, I'll stay with you, but nothing's going to come out of it, okay? It was just strictly sexual. You know, we'll go out. She even called me her booty call. She called me when she wants to have sex.
That's
okay?
not true, Your Honor.
Hey, that's how it was, you know? I mean, I'd go out, do my own thing, you know, go out with whoever I wanted, okay, if I don't have anything better to do.
How chivalrous of you.
Well, I mean, that's what I pointed out. It's even on paper. You know, it's like, take it or leave it, okay? I'm not going to have a relationship with you. Okay?
All of that is, listen, that's a boy-girl thing. If she wants to accept a relationship under those conditions, that's fine.
That's what she accepted.
We're talking here about.
I'm getting to that. I am getting to that. But in the meantime...
Loans, your insurance, all these checks with your signature on the back of endorsements. So, car payment.
I never asked her to pay anything for me, okay?
But just a second. Did you take it?
Yeah, she volunteered. Why not? You know? That's like she thought she had to do that, okay? In order to keep me from leaving her. It's either pay stuff for me or send me dirty pictures, half-naked pictures, just
Put them
everything.
away. I don't want to see them.
You don't want to see? I've got them here. Anybody else?
No, just a second. Anybody else want to see it? Is that what you just said? Did you just say anybody else want to see it?
Well, the whole thing was a joke to me, you know? It's like things were not working out from day one, and she's like...
So why didn't you just say goodbye?
I have.
You're a big guy. You want to say goodbye to somebody, you could just say goodbye.
I went to Miami. I went to Orlando. She would track me down. I have letters she sent me to everywhere I go.
Well, so you understood Mr. Felix, right? That according to you, Miss Levitt was infatuated with you.
Yes.
And you felt that she was, according to you, insecure. Is that right? Fair statement? Vulnerable because of that.
Maybe
Right?
you could see that. Sure.
And so you decided to go over and, according to you, for want of a better phrase that unfortunately doesn't come to my mind right now, service. Right? Service her occasionally and pick up a check.
Nah, it wasn't always like that.
Let's go back a second, Mr. Felix. You did service her.
Yes.
And you did pick up a check.
That's not the service for a check.
No,
It wasn't
no.
like that.
I'm just saying, you did service her, and you did pick up a check or two, or 10.
Sure.
Or 20. Now, Mr. Felix, that's not very nice, sir. That doesn't say to me that you are a very nice person. Do you want me to explain it to you?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She got pregnant on purpose. That didn't work, okay? I'm not going to be with her no matter what she does.
Real people, Judge Judy. Jacqueline Levitt says the father of her child, John Carlos Felix, borrowed money to buy computer equipment, but never repaid her. He says the money was a gift.
Can I make this suggestion to you, sir? There will come a time when Miss Levitt will become so frustrated with the situation that if you don't take her to court, and I doubt that you will, because I doubt that you have this passion to see your child on a regular basis, but she will feel as if, as she should, that the child has a right to be supported by two parents. And that's what the law says. So she's going to take you to court. And under the law in many jurisdictions, she can take you to court seeking support from the date of the child's birth. Do you understand that? So I'm going to suggest, Mr. Felix, that from now on, when you make child support payments, you make them by check or money order made payable to her, clearly endorsed child support. So should there ever be a question about how much money you have paid, it is memorialized in a writing. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And now the next case.
Parties on Sherritt versus Liebenson. Step forward, please.
29-year-old Jill Sherritt says her ex-boyfriend, Brad Liebenson, Brad missed several payments.
You were dating. He wanted a watercraft.
Yes.
Something that you ride on the water.
Exactly.
Very California.
Yes, it is.
But he had no credit. So you got the watercraft. She got the bill. And then you broke up, leaving you with the bill.
Yes, I do.
You have the bill?
I did.
Did you pay for it?
Up to a certain point, that's correct.
How much?
$1,000.
And how much was the watercraft?
Approximately $4,000.
So that leaves well, explain to me why you don't owe her the watercraft or the $3,000.
Well, in the statement that I did give, we had come upon an agreement to where after I paid for her to stay with me during the period of our relationship and the money that I spent, that the balance
idea.
During one of our last meetings, before she actually moved out.
You had this conversation with her that you remember vividly as you stand here before me today.
Yes.
How long did you live together?
4 years.
He says that you came up with this agreement with regard to the watercraft, that you lived with him. I assume he's going to tell me that he paid all the bills. Is that right?
That's correct.
And that therefore you had an understanding that he would pay for the first $1,000 of the watercraft. Does any of that sound familiar to you?
There was never any conversation like that at all. The only conversation in regards to the jet ski was that I was going to pay for it and he would make the monthly payments on it until it was paid off or until he could come up with the lump sum to pay it off. There was never any trade for this, trade for that. That was never discussed. That wasn't part of the agreement at all.
Mr. Liebenson, when you were together, tell me what kind of expenses you took care of, sir.
Rent, utilities, car payment, things like that.
For yourself and for the plaintiff?
That's correct.
She had her own car?
Yep.
And you made the car payments for her?
She borrowed money from her family that I helped repay.
Explain that to me.
She didn't have money for a car when she moved out here. She borrowed money from her family. I repaid most of that money.
How much money?
Approximately $3,000.
Can you show me how you repaid that money?
I made payments to them.
How?
By check and by giving money to Jill.
Well, let me see some checks.
I don't have them here.
Get copies of that, sir.
They weren't able to get them to me.
Does any of that sound familiar?
No. My family will be very surprised to hear that there were payments made to them for repayment of a car, which I paid every dime of.
Assuming, Mr. Liebenson, that I do not believe you. Let's start with that premise, sir. Your answer, sir, says for the first year and a half that you were together, you paid for rent, bills, car repairs, and food. There isn't anything here about repaying a loan to her parents.
Maybe
Nothing.
I omitted that when writing my statement.
Well, the statement is 2 pages long, sir. That's a really big thing to omit, considering that it's the first thing that you mentioned to me today, and just happens to be in the same approximate amount of the water ski. And you go into great detail in your answer. Jill and I lived together for 4.5 years. During the last 6 to 8 months, I decided to purchase a personal watercraft.
That's correct.
Not the two of you. I decided. Although you say, due to my credit standing at that particular time, I was denied the loan. Jill offered to use her credit to obtain the loan. And then you say, after the separation, I discussed the fact that I had supported her during the first year or so, and we should offset that. So you go into great detail. Nothing about this loan that you paid, that you couldn't get from microfilm from your bank.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
All right, you got the watercraft?
That's right.
You got the bill. How much did you pay?
Altogether, a little over $5,000 with finance charges because it was a revolving line of credit. So there was finance charges that were accrued.
You're only suing for $3,200.
Yeah, basic blue book cost of the watercraft. It's basically the principle of the thing at this point.
Mm-hmm. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,200.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge, and on the next Judge Judy.
Parties on Peraza versus Barraza. Step forward, please.
Myra Peraza says she and her former best friend, Tina Barraza, won a new Jeep in a raffle, but Tina refuses to share it. Tina claims it was her ticket that won the Jeep, making her the sole winner.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. Now, this is case number 301 on the calendar in the matter of Peraza versus Barraza. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Have a seat, ma'am. Ma'am.
You two gals are real good friends. You went to some sort of an event, which you're going to tell me about. One of the things that happened at that event was that there was a door prize of a brand new Jeep automobile. Right?
Correct. Yes.
She won. You think that you should get half. Right?
No. Not exactly.
Well,
I think we both won.
You think you both won, and she claimed the prize.
Yeah, she ended up going behind my back and claiming the prize.
All right, let's start from the beginning. What kind of an event was this?
It was just an event from a radio station and Taco Bell. It was just a concert.
Slowly.
It was just a concert. It was just a concert where these rappers are going to be there or something like that.
You, according to your complaint, got the concert tickets and asked her if she wanted to go.
No. She got the concert tickets.
She got the tickets.
Yeah, and she asked me if I wanted to go.
Okay.
And I agreed, and we went. And at the door, they asked us if we wanted to gamble, and we said yes. And they gave us $500 fake dollars each.
Did you have to pay for that?
No. They just asked us at the front if you wanted to gamble, you got $500. If you didn't, well, you didn't gamble.
So it was like Monopoly money.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Okay.
And after that, she asked me, I mean, I was there with her the whole time, but then she asked me if she could gamble my money, and I said, sure, go ahead, you know. And she's like,
you weren't gambling?
No, I was just standing right there, just helping her out. That was about it. She gambled, she got all my money, she gambled it away, and we ended up getting chips for, just chips, regular chips that you gamble with, in return when you were gambling. So we had to trade those in for tickets. And after that, some guys just came up to us and told us that, oh, they were leaving. They were in a rush, so they came over and they gave us their tickets. They said, here, girls, good luck, and if you guys win, give us a call.
So now you had these whole bunch of tickets, and you threw them in a pot.
We just, yeah.
Who held on to the stubs?
I did.
You did?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was. She had it in my backpack, so she put it in the backpack. We had a backpack. It was only one, so she put them in there.
And you had a whole bunch of them. How many did you have?
There was probably 50 or probably more. I wouldn't know. We didn't count them. And we just threw them inside the backpack. And it was time for them to call out the tickets. The time came, so we went down there and they started calling out tickets. We won other prizes. Prior to that, we won something else, and it was time to call out.
What else did you win?
We won a jacket and a backpack. And
what'd you do with that?
One of us kept the backpack and the other one kept the jacket.
Is that right?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So I guess the time came to win the thing, and we just got the tickets, and she's like, "Here, you take half," because there was so many of them. We just split them up. She said, "You take half, I'll take the other half." And
to look at the numbers as they were calling the numbers.
Yeah. So then after that, they called the number. That was about it. They called.
And you had the ticket. You were holding that ticket.
Yeah, she was holding the ticket.
Okay. Now let me ask you this question. I'll ask you this question. There came a time when you did split up these tickets, right?
Mm-hmm.
She held half and you held half. Tell me about that moment.
As I recall, we just split them up.
Not we split them up. They're in your hands.
Okay, I split them up evenly.
Split them up evenly?
Yes, I just gave her half, and, we both looked at them.
Okay. Am I correct that your reason that was done was because it's too difficult to look at all the numbers as they're calling out the numbers, like in a bingo or something,
Yes.
so that each one of you was looking through half?
Correct.
Right? Mm-hmm. And your ticket won?
Yeah, they were my tickets. They were all my tickets.
Now, why do you think they were all your tickets?
Because she had given me her $500. I did not ask her if I can play with her $500. She gave them to me. She gave the $500 to me.
How did that come about?
She said, "Here, take my money. You can gamble with it."
Is that what you said?
No.
No, that's not what happened.
That's exactly what happened.
No.
No, we were gambling. She ended up, she was like down to her last $50, and she just said, "Can I, let me have your money." And she said, if we would win the Jeep, we would split it up.
I had said that from the guys' tickets. I had the guys' tickets in one hand, and I had my tickets in the other hand. The ones that I had won.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't. All the tickets were together in your backpack at one point. Oh, I think that they probably were. All the tickets were together in your backpack.
At one point, I had put them all together, yes.
Right. So at that point, they were all mixed together.
Yes.
Yours and the guys.
Yes.
Right. So there really is no way of knowing whether it was your ticket that won or the guy's ticket that won.
Exactly.
Well, now at least we got that straight. So it's not in one hand and then the other hand.
But I had told her, out of their tickets that they gave us, actually they gave me the tickets, and I told her, out of those tickets, if we win it, we'll split it, because we were friends.
You couldn't tell whether it was their ticket that won.
No, we could not.
You just assumed it was comfortable for you to say it wasn't one of their tickets that won, it was my ticket that won.
I did not say that.
You had no way of knowing whether it was your ticket that won or one of the guys' tickets that won.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
Am I dealing? Hello?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You speak to this pain in the neck, and a 12-year friendship is down the drain over a Jeep.
And real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 19-year-old Myra Barraza is suing her former best friend Tina Barraza after they won a new Jeep in a raffle.
I see that you have a tape there. Can you tell me what that tape is of?
This is just the day of the event. Recorded us where we both claimed the prize. We both did go up there and claim the prize. And
For the Jeep?
Yes.
I want to see it. Well, that certainly looks as if, at least at that moment, there was a mutuality that each of you won that prize. So what happened?
I was willing to split with her.
So?
And that's what we were going to do until about a month later. She had called me up, and she had said that she wanted to give it to me. She said, go ahead and have it, in other words.
Where was it?
I hadn't got it yet.
Did you do that?
No, I called her up. There was all this stuff was going on with the Jeep. We didn't know what we were going to do. it was a big old thing about it. We didn't know how we were going to split it up, who was going to pay for tax and license and everything. And we were going to get the confirmation letter. And I called her up and I told her, yes, you could stay with the Jeep. But she had said if she stood with the Jeep, she was going to give me an $8,000 loan. That's how much the car was worth, $16,000.
I did not state that.
And I told her, okay. She said she was going to tell her dad, sell her other car that she had just bought, sell it back, and instead of paying $15,000, she'll just tell her dad to get an $8,000 loan and pay me for it. And I said, okay. We agreed. I never thought anything. I just said, okay. We didn't. It was just a verbal thing. But I did tell her, okay, you could keep the Jeep, and
that sounds reasonable because you can't split up the Jeep.
Yeah, and I just said, okay. And I said, you could pay my $8,000, or else we're just going to sell the Jeep, and we're both going to get our half.
No, she did not say that on the phone. She told me that she wanted me to keep the Jeep. That's what she told me.
What? Of course, that's what she said to you.
Yeah, but she did not specify that she wanted me to give her $8,000.
Well, why would she make you a gift of $8,000? If the Jeep is worth $16,000, why in the world do you think, madam, that she would make you a gift of $8,000, which is half of the Jeep? Why?
I don't understand what you're saying.
Well, let's go slowly. What word didn't you understand? Why do you think that she would make you a present of $8,000?
She did not say anything about $8,000. I did not hear anything about $8,000 on that telephone call. At that time, I was like happy. I was happy that she given it to me. And I figured that
what are you doing standing up here?
I want to step in for the spot where she called her. She told me through everything that happened. She called me every time they had a conversation. She was asking me, what should I do? What should I do? What do I do about the Jeep? Do I split it in half? Should I sell it? What? I told her, you know what? You won the tickets to that concert. It's your Jeep. You were holding the ticket at the time she won it.
Oh, you're the troublemaker. Sit down. Sit down.
As I was saying, I figured the reason why she said that on the telephone is because she knew that she did not have any part in the ticket winning.
Oh, please, madam. I want to tell you something. I think that your conduct was really outrageous to bring it to this point. First of all, the two of you have been friends. There isn't a question in my mind. What?
9 years. 12 years.
There isn't a question in my mind, after looking at that tape, that at the time that Jeep was won, the two of you, both of you, I saw her signing papers.
We didn't sign any
Just
paper.
A second.
It was just a back of a flyer. We put down both our names and addresses.
Right. It was the back of a flyer. You both put down your names and addresses as the winners. Right?
Yes.
That's what it looked like to me on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometime you speak to this pain in the neck who says to you, I don't think you have to split it with her at all because it was your ticket, it was in your hand. And a 12-year friendship is down the drain over a Jeep because there is no logical reason that I can think of, except if you're drinking too much, to think that this lady would call you up and say, I just want to give it to you because you're a very nice person. I care about you.
No.
Please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Myra Peraza and her former best friend, Tina Peraza, won a new Jeep in a raffle. But Myra says Tina is refusing to share.
Listen to me. Bottom line is, the maximum jurisdiction in this court is $5,000.
I know.
You understand that?
Yeah, I know.
Right? Now, she claimed this prize. I assume you went and claimed the prize.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Correct. She told me to do what's right, and that's what I thought was right.
Yeah, she just went off this one day. I'd spoken to her the weekend before she did this. I'd spoken to her the whole week when she went off to the radio station and had a cashier's check with her parents. And she did this on Friday. I spoke to her Friday and Saturday. She told me nothing. I told her, what's going on? She said, nothing. I haven't spoken to them. I haven't heard of anything.
Miss Peraza, your friendship's over.
I know that.
And based upon what I've heard, that's probably the right thing to happen.
Yeah, I know.
Because she's not a very trustworthy person. Now, she claimed the Jeep. She's going to have to pay the taxes on it. But I'm awarding you $5,000, which is the maximum that I can. My grandmother used to say, if you do the right thing happens. If you do the wrong thing, eventually it's going to catch up with you. What you did was pretty sneaky. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Hey, you got your Jeep. She got her money.
Back door to your right, please.
Just to reiterate what Judge Judy said, bad things, it all comes back to people or whatever. It's going to come back to her because I did what I thought was right, and in God I trust that I did what's right, and I think it's going to come back to her what she did because she was wrong, not me. She's lucky for even being there. She's lucky for even being at the event. I don't see that she deserves half. I won the tickets to go to the event, and she was even lucky that I took her.
You got your $5,000 you wanted.
I did.
So now you can shut up.
Yeah, you too. You had nothing to do with this.
And now the next case.
Parties on Anderson versus Rankin. Step forward, please.
Margaret Anderson is suing her tenant, Tim Rankin, claiming he made phone calls to 900 numbers totaling more than $1,000.
All right, Mr. Rankin. You rented a room from the plaintiff.
That's correct.
And I believe that you will agree, based upon what doesn't seem to be in dispute, that when you moved in, you wanted a telephone in your room.
That's correct, Your Honor.
But because of prior problems, you couldn't get the phone in your name.
She offered to put the phone...
Because of prior problems, you couldn't get the phone in your name.
I owed a past due bill on the Pacific bill.
So the answer to my question is yes. You couldn't get the phone in your name.
Correct.
I knew we'd get there, Bird.
Take your time, bitch.
So she said, okay.
Yes.
Right? Are you nervous?
Yes.
Hmm?
Yes.
I could tell you were nervous. She said, okay, you put the phone in your room, and within a relatively short period of time, you got a bill.
Yep.
And how much was that bill for?
$1,059.
For a 1 month period?
2 months period.
2 months. And you say I didn't do it.
I didn't do it, Your Honor.
Is the phone in your room?
Yes, it is.
You think she did it?
I doubt it.
Look at this lady. Look, I just want you to look at her. You think she went into your room and made the calls?
I doubt it.
Somebody's got to pay the bill.
That's right.
Now, you want to try to explain to me in 100 words or less why it shouldn't be you?
In 100 words or less, I don't know if I can do it in 100 words or less, but I believe that the other tenant that was living there made those phone calls.
So,
and there's a reason behind why I think he made those phone calls.
I'll hear you.
Okay, well, the former tenant and her had a limousine business. She put up $27,000 for a limousine. Somehow I was drawn into the middle of that. Their business relationship didn't work out from the get-go. They were screaming and yelling every night there. And because I didn't take his side in the limousine business, he started to have an attitude against me. Eventually, I had to throw him in jail for assault on me at the lady's house. The following day, her and I went down and put restraining orders on him. At that point, I believe he went into my room. He wanted me out of that house no matter what.
Uh-huh.
No matter what the cost, so he could work on her by himself.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that he went into my room and made a bunch of phone calls, information phone calls. I'm not sure what exactly they were. Psychic, maybe. I don't know what kind of phone calls they were.
Psychic hotline calls? Is that what they were?
900. Sex calls.
Sex calls.
Sex calls. Okay.
Okay. So that's your defense. You know, we used to call that, when I was sitting judge in Manhattan, somebody once told me that that's called the Soddy principle, S-O-D-D-I. Some other dude
done it.
did it. Did you ever hear that?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Mr. Rankin, let's keep this simple, sir. Somebody's got to pay this bill. The phone is in your room. If the phone had been in your room and been in your name, you would have had to have paid the phone bill. And then if you felt that somebody in an unauthorized fashion used your phone, you would go and sue them. Right?
That's correct.
But you don't say to the telephone company, listen, Ma Belle, I didn't make the phone calls from my phone. Somebody else did it. You pay the bill, and then you pursue whatever other remedies you have. You are responsible to safeguard the phone in your room. Not her. She was doing you a favor. Why should she be out $1,059? Is there any reason?
No, there's not a reason
Good.
she should be out.
Judgment in the case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,059.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right, please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And you in a moment. And
Parties on Davenport versus Agatep. Step forward, please.
33-year-old Gina Davenport says when her father passed away, his common-law wife, Cleta Agatep, began withdrawing money from his checking account. Gina claims the money was part of her inheritance.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 315 on the calendar in the matter of Davenport versus Agatep. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Miss Davenport, the defendant in this case was the companion of your father, who died recently.
Right.
And he died recently without a will.
Right.
Your complaint is that the defendant took money out of a checking account that was your father's.
Correct.
And that money rightfully belongs to his heirs, it's, in this case you, and whatever siblings you have, because if you die without a will, under the laws of this jurisdiction, your children inherit. That's your position.
Correct.
And it's your position that her father, with whom you lived for how long?
8 years.
Wanted you to have that money. You consider yourself his common-law wife.
Well, right, yeah, in a way, yes.
Before I get to the actual dollars in this case, which really aren't a lot, according to what I see here, you say that there was about $6,000.
A little over that when my father passed away.
When he died, and that there was some $3,000 left in the account that you did in fact take.
My sister wouldn't close the account out because she lived by the bank, right?
So that at this point, according to your complaint, owes you $3,000.
Right.
Correct?
I don't owe her anything.
Just a second. I understand your position, and your position was that there was more money in that account and that Ernest wanted you to have that money.
Yes, he did.
Okay. My primary concern, Miss Davenport, quite frankly, is with you, after reading your complaint. Because neither the complaint nor the answer told me how long the defendant lived with your father. But it was a long time.
Yes.
Your father died of cancer.
Yes, he did.
How long was he ill?
Probably really ill for the last 6 months. He wasn't, fortunately, it went fairly fast for him, you know.
No, he was ill for 9 months.
Well.
And the last month was really tough
Nobody
on
ever
him.
disputed that.
Miss Davenport, you just said to her, nobody ever disputed that.
She did take care of my father.
I, quite frankly, am at a loss, then, why you're here and why you've pursued this lawsuit.
Because if she had asked for the money or something, it would have been, we probably would have given it to her. My father left her a $10,000 life insurance policy. He left her a paid-for house, and my father told me not too long before he died that between the money in his check.
How much money in stocks did he have?
He had 506 shares of stock worth probably $32 to $34
He wanted
a
me
share.
to... Oh.
Which, worth what?
Between $32 and $34 a share.
What were his total assets?
$40,000 maybe.
$40,000. And how many siblings are there?
5.
Okay. During the last 6 to 9 months, when your companion was ill and you were caring for him, how many times then, not counting Ms. Davenport, did the other 4 children come down and say to you, you're taking care of him, I know he's very sick, would like to help you out for...
None.
All right, I believe that.
None.
I believe that. Now, Ms. Davenport, you tell me, how many times did you go there and care for him for more than a day?
For more than a day?
More than a day.
More than a day, I couldn't.
What do you mean you couldn't?
I lived a long ways away, and I have a small child at home. I went down there probably, I think, 4 times in 6 months before he passed away.
Then, Ms. Davenport, let me tell you this. This is not going to be a very long case. As far as I'm concerned, you ought to lean over and kiss both of her hands and her feet. Because she took care of your father. She showered him. She made sure he got to the bathroom. She washed him.
Yes, she did.
Quiet. She fed him. She made sure that he was taken care of, something that if she wasn't around, either his children would have had to do, and had to do something about taking care of your children and your small children and your brothers and sisters, their jobs and everything else, or you would have had to have put him in some sort of an institution, which would have cost money, probably more than your $40,000 that you got, or you would have had to have paid somebody substantially more than $3,000 over 6 months to take care of him. Now, something that you said really irritates me. And what you said to me was, if she would have asked us, we would have given it to her. She didn't have to be asked to take care of your father. She took care of your father. She didn't have to be asked to take him to the bathroom.
Can I say something yet?
Just a second. She took him there. So, and we're not talking about your entire inheritance of $40,000. What your complaint is, Miss Davenport, is that for a period of immediately before and immediately after his death, she went to the bank and withdrew at $300 increments half, you say half, of what was in that account, which was $3,000. So I, quite frankly, don't understand you at all. You couldn't get a nurse for $3,000 a month to take care of a critically ill cancer patient at home. So now that I've said my piece, you can say yours.
Thank you. For one, if anybody had asked, my father told me didn't want anybody down there trying to take care of him. If anybody had asked, I would have come down there. Like I said, if she had no right to go in there. If he had wanted her to have that money, why didn't she just go in there and take it all out of the bank at once? Why did she have to go in there?
She could have.
10 days in a row and take it out of an ATM machine instead of going into the bank and getting the money out? If that was money was meant for her, that money was not meant for her.
What I'm telling you, you're not following what I'm saying to you. Unfortunately, when parents either get old or, unfortunately, if they become seriously ill, usually, if there is no spouse, children bear the burden of taking care of their parent.
That's right.
And they have to turn their lives upside down, usually, in order to do that. That means that if you have a young child, and if you want to take care of your responsibility to your father, that means that you find a babysitter for your child, you move into his home, you care for him. You didn't have to do that. And your 4 brothers and sisters, well, what are we going to do? Just leave him there to languish? Who's going to feed him?
He was only bedridden like that at the very end.
What's the very end? A month?
For a month, yes, probably.
Well, let's say a month, madam. Who was going to take care of him for a month?
If he would have let me, I would have, but he wouldn't let me.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
You yourself in your complaint says he was a very difficult man.
Yes, he was.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Gina Davenport is suing her deceased father's common-law wife, Cleta Agatep, because she took money out of his checking account. Cleta claims the money was rightfully hers.
You took money out of this ATM?
Yes, I did.
How much money did you take out?
I don't, about $1,500.
Now, you have a counterclaim here, which I assume that you filed after they filed their suit.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
All right. Now, you understand that because you were not legally married to him, under the laws of the state, because he died without a will, legally, you're not entitled to his money. You understand that?
Okay.
But he did provide for you in other ways? He left a life insurance policy for you?
$10,000.
Okay. So the only thing she says she took out of that joint account was $1,500, and there is at least, in my judgment, she had access to that account clearly through your father, who gave her both his ATM card and his PIN number, which means he gave her total access to that money. More important, there's a moral issue here, Ms. Davenport, that I quite frankly, who was able to sleep in her own bed at night with her child next to her and not have to nurse a terminally ill cancer patient who was her father for either a month or 6 months or 9 months, shouldn't be standing in a court trying to recoup from his longtime companion who lovingly cared for him until the end, $3,000 or $1,500. You should say, I'm really grateful that somebody who cared for my father, because you yourself in your complaint says he was a very difficult man.
Yes, he was.
Very difficult, hard to get along with. So here you have somebody who took care of you, a very difficult, hard to get along with, terminally ill father, and you're here over pennies. Well, I'm here to tell you, your case is dismissed. I'm also here to tell you that you're not entitled to any more than what you got. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door.
And now the next case.
Parties on Thomas versus Simonetta. Step forward, please.
25-year-old mechanic Christopher Thomas is suing 34-year-old Stephen Simonetta for assault. Christopher claims the fight started because he is romantically involved with Stephen's estranged wife.
Mr. Thomas, you are living with the defendant's soon-to-be ex-wife.
Yes, Your Honor.
How long was he separated from his wife?
I think it was a couple of months.
And do you know how long they were married?
9 years.
You have children?
Yes, 2.
And they live with your wife?
With her, yeah.
And she was living with him?
Yes.
Okay. Where did this assault take place, sir?
In our home.
You were living with his wife and their 2 children in her home?
Yes.
That she used to share with him?
They never shared it.
They never lived there together?
I think maybe a total of 1 week.
So the assault took place in the home. Tell me about it.
I got off work and I went in the bedroom to take off my work clothes and change. And I heard the defendant and walk in and...
Is your girlfriend?
Yes.
His wife?
Yes. And he started arguing with my witness, Christy. And then he comes storming in the bedroom and shut the door behind him and threatened me and told me that I had to leave out of the house and asked me if I was going to move out. Then stormed in, got him outside, and they were leaving. And then he came running back in the house, and he goes, hit me. And I said...
He said to you, hit me?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I didn't answer him, and the next thing I know, Christy's helping me up off the floor.
Now, Mr. Simonetta?
Simonetta.
Mr. Simonetta, you, sir, don't deny that you hit him.
No, I don't. In self-defense, I didn't just run in the house and start hitting on him, no.
According to your papers, your wife was leading you on and then tossing you out.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
And according to you, in your answer, when this gentleman went off to jail for a period of time, and your wife is a little bit lonely because he's not around. Is that what happened, Mr. Simonetta?
Yes.
So she gives you a call one night. I mean, that's not all in here. I'm just sort of putting it together. So she gives you a call and says, I miss you, honey, come home.
Well, we were trying to get resolved, being he was out, and we could get established our relationship back together, being there was nobody around to interfere with it. And
That's what was in your head.
Yes.
But clearly it was not in your wife's head.
No.
Right?
Right.
She just didn't like to be alone for that couple of months.
Apparently, yeah, yes.
Because as soon as he came out of jail...
The day before I got restraining order. Kicked right back.
Mr. Simonetta, just look at me.
Yes,
sir.
I was mad.
You were really, really mad. Now, I don't tell you didn't have a right to be mad.
Yeah.
You just got mad at the wrong person. You understand that? It's easier to blame him, maybe. The truth of the matter is, he probably didn't like the idea that she was playing both guys any more than you did. He didn't know.
He didn't know.
So if he didn't know, then he couldn't have been playing it. It was all
He didn't know until later on into the relationship when I ended up just discussing this and confronting him with it.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
You're not following me, sir. What are you, thick?
Yes, you're right. I was sleeping in the house. The kids were waking up to me, yes.
And sometimes they wake up and find him sleeping in the house with their mother, right?
Apparently, yes.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Fighting over a woman. Christopher Thomas wants medical bills and lost wages from Stephen Simonetta.
Mr. Simonetta,
I understand.
I want you to look at me now and you tell me how it happened.
The day, a week before it happened, we were going to get together and go to the house and see what happened, what was going to go on, whether they were playing roommate or boyfriend and girlfriend or what, I didn't know. Just a roommate set up. Yeah, and I was stupid. Me fell into the whole the game, into believing it. We made a date. We was going to go up to the house, see the kids, talk about what was going to go on. He was supposed to be there. I told her on the way up there I was going to confront him, ask him if anything was going on. Was it a roommate thing or a boyfriend-girlfriend thing? I walked into the house. I went into the back room. I was with the kids for a minute. I went into the back half of the house. He would
just say to him when you started talking.
I said, "So, are you guys still got a relationship going on or what?" She came up and started saying something. I walked into the room. I shut the door behind me. I said, "Are you sleeping with her?" He said, "Yes." I opened the door back up. I said, "Are you sleeping with her?" And he said, "Yes." She heard him say it. I said, "There it is there." I turned and walked out the house. I said, "It's through." I walked out the house. I got out to the curb. I thought about losing my kids. The family was dead. I didn't want to, it started eating at me. I ran back into the house. He was in the corner of the kitchen. I said, "You ruined my life." He went like this, and I clocked him. He hit the ground. I turned around and walked out of the house, and that was my story. That was it.
Mr. Simonetta,
Yeah.
everything that you said to me, I'm sympathetic about. Other than the fact that you hit him. Because your kids were home.
My kids were outside when it happened.
Kids were home.
Okay.
I mean, I don't understand the kind of environment these children are growing up in anyway. One night you're sleeping in the house, one night he's sleeping in the house.
No,
one night she's sleeping in the house with him, one night
I
he's
had
sleeping
my
in the
own
house.
place.
What?
I had my own house.
But you did sleep in that house. You told me
No.
for a while.
I came back to the house when he left for 2 weeks.
I
the day
understand.
before I got.
So the kids-
I had my own apartment at that time.
You're not listening to me, Mr. Simonetta. The kids are waking up seeing, for 2 weeks, according to you,
Yeah,
you
'cause
sleeping
everything-
in the house?
It was going to work out. Yes, you're right.
You're not following
You're right,
me,
yes.
sir. What are you, thick?
Yes, you're right. I was sleeping in the house. The kids were waking up to me, yes.
And sometimes they wake up and find him sleeping in the house with their mother, right?
Apparently, yes.
And sometimes, according to you, your kids wake up and find him sleeping with her,
Yes.
according to you?
Mm-hmm.
Judy is ready to rule.
He had no right to hit him, Mr. Simonetti. You got to pay for it. Where are your medical bills?
Your Honor.
What?
He also, at my prior house, let's see, he came through the door looking for me, and I was not there, and he assaulted and busted up some furniture.
Who cares about that? What does that have to do with this case?
I was just letting you know that this ain't the first time that he was wanting to threaten me and hurt me.
Let me explain something to you, sir. This is some piece of work. Now, she's not here today to defend herself to any of this, right? But what I'm hearing, and I believe him because he pretty much almost admitted to me that whatever he did, he shouldn't have done. He assaulted you, and I'm going to give you money for that. I'm going to give you what you're asking for, in all probability. Well, your medical bills, right?
Yes.
You're entitled to that. He had no reason to hit him, Mr. Simonetta. And the fact that he's only suing you for $1,200 to me is very interesting because really, he was injured. You injured him, clocked him.
Yep.
He passed out. Plaintiff in the amount of $1,200 as requested. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will...
Parties on standoff versus Jefferson. Step forward, please.
19-year-old sales clerk Rachel Stanhoff says her ex-boyfriend Joseph Jefferson owes her money he borrowed to buy car rims.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. Your Honor, it's case number 335 on the calendar in the matter of Stanoff versus Jefferson. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Gentlemen.
This was your boyfriend. How long had you known each other?
About 2.5 years, almost 3 now.
And you're not together anymore.
Correct.
While you were together, he used your credit card to buy rims for his car.
Correct.
And you say, sir, that it was a gift of love.
Yep. Yes.
So, Miss Stanoff, why don't you tell me about this rimming?
We were together about 2.5 years, and we ended up breaking up for about 6 to 9 months. We moved in together as roommates. He needed to purchase some rims. He then put $500 down, wrote a check to West Coast Motorsports in Garden Grove, and then proceeded to tell me that that he needed to have the other $1,300 to pay on the rims, or else he was going to lose his $500. So I went down with him. In return, he said that he would pay me back in full. He had gave me a Vaughn's credit card, or I'm sorry, credit union card. Told me that actually there was $30 taken out of his check every week that I could take out to pay the bill back.
So you broke up, he's got the rims and you got the bill. Is that what you're telling me?
Correct.
Go.
Okay, well, we broke up. We moved back in together. We were living there for about a week, and she usually takes me out shopping, buying me stuff whenever I want when we get in fights or something. And she offered to buy me some rims for my car. She paid for
Why would
them.
she take you out shopping if you have a fight?
That's how she is. Whenever I got mad at her, we got in a fight, she bought me stuff. And she has a record of every time we break up, trying to take something back from me. And that's why, like, when we got back together that time, for like 3 years, she made me sign a contract saying that, it was a contract, it was made in 5/30/95, saying that the first thing on there says, whatever you bought me is mine if we break up no matter what. And she signed it and dated it, everything. So that's how she always goes to that stuff. Buys me stuff and then wants to take it back when we break up. When we went to buy the rims, I wrote the check for $500 and she paid the rest with the credit cards. There was no agreement. He was there with me when we bought it. It was us 3 there. We went there. There's no agreement that I had to pay back, nothing. The reason she got my cash card is
Just a second. Who has the car?
The card?
Car!
No, I sold it.
With the rims?
Yes.
How much after she paid for the rims did you sell the car?
I sold it for $18,500.
Well, I didn't ask you that question, but that's an interesting answer.
How much longer?
What?
How much longer? Just
What word in English didn't you understand?
You said how much the car 3 months ago.
How much after you put the rims on the car did you sell it, was my question. You said $18,000, which isn't exactly
2
an
months.
answer, but I'll take it.
2 months.
Had you already broken up with her at the time?
Yeah.
So why didn't you give her back the money for the rims from the car?
Because they were a gift. That's like
what?
They were a gift. That's like I bought her rings and stuff. Am I supposed to take everything back that I bought her?
Let me explain something
not
to you,
right.
sir. There's a difference between a ring, a piece of jewelry, a watch, a shirt, a tie, a pair of rollerblades. There's a difference between that and 4 rims for your car.
There's no difference. It's material.
How old are you?
20.
Where do you live?
In Hawaiian Gardens.
Who do you live with?
My grandma.
Your grandmother?
Yes.
Where do your parents live?
I don't know. I don't talk to my parents.
You don't know, you don't talk to them?
Yes.
For how long?
For a while. All my life.
What do you mean all your life?
All my life. Like
You mean
said.
you've always lived with your grandmother?
Yes.
Is it your mother's mother or your father's mother?
Mom's.
Does she talk to her daughter?
Yes.
You ever been arrested, Mr. Jefferson?
Nah. Nope.
Where do you work?
I don't work now.
Why?
Because I quit. Because I lost my license.
What license?
Driver's license.
Why?
For speeding.
How many times?
3.
And you were never arrested, sir?
Nah, never arrested, no.
No. And what kind of car was this that you sold for $18,000?
97 Mitsubishi Eclipse.
How'd you buy it?
Financed it.
What kind of work were you doing when you financed it?
I worked for UPS and Vons.
And what happened to those jobs?
I had to lose them because of her.
You lost your UPS job because of her? How did she cause you to lose your UPS job?
That's how it started when she broke into my box and she stole my car keys my checkbooks, all this stuff, and she stole my car from UPS one night because I worked midnight shift. I go in 3 to 9, and I came out, my car wasn't there, and then I came back and it was moved somewhere else. She stole my car, and I couldn't keep letting my car go out. She always threatened me, saying that all my friends they're gonna steal your car, take the rims off, steal your radio. And then Vons, she went in there harassing me all the time. My boss complained to me.
So she wanted the money back for the rims or the rims right from the beginning?
No, it's not for the money. It's for the love. She missed me. She wanted me still.
Oh, my God. God help her if that's what she wanted. How old are you?
19.
Who do you live with?
My grandmother.
Where are your parents?
My parents are in Norco. I talk to them once a week.
Where?
Norco, North Corona.
And why don't you live at home?
Because it's too far for me to commute now.
Have you ever met his parents?
I've met his mother.
When?
I've met her a few times during the 2.5 years that we were together. I've seen her probably about a year ago. I saw her.
When you saw them, was he there?
Yeah. He's the one that introduced me to her.
Does that sound familiar to you, sir?
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
So it's not that you haven't spoken to your parents or your mother?
I don't talk to them.
Oh, God.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You are a 20-year-old unemployed person who takes from young women contracts.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rachel Stanhoff says her ex-boyfriend, Joseph Jefferson, owes her money he borrowed to buy car rims. Joseph claims the money was a gift.
Listen up, Mr. Jefferson. You owe her for the tire rims. You're 20 years old. You could either be in your life. First of all, you got this dumb look on your face, which is really irritating. This smile, which really is irritating, because it looks to me as if you're trying to get over, and you think you're going to get over me. I'm smarter than you will be if you live to be 170 years old. Right? Do you understand that? Because you are either so thick or so impervious to what's right because you had no moral upbringing that I really feel sorry for you. And maybe that accounts for this ridiculous look on your face. But what I'm telling you is, you could either be a nice person or you could be a taker and a sucker all your life, sucking off other people. And it sounds to me as if you started your young life being a sucker off other people, taking advantage of other people and thinking that you have some gift, some special gift. I tell you right now, I got 3 sons. Right? And I'm looking at you and I'm saying, you are no gift to anybody.
You give it?
You are no gift. You are a 20-year-old unemployed person who takes from young women because he thinks that he's God's gift. I mean, you're not even good looking. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff for the amount of $1,255. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Now the back door to your right, please.
And now the next case.
Charges on Kaufman, Smith versus Rodriguez. Step forward, please.
Bikini models Jennifer Kaufman and Kim Smith are suing magazine publisher David Rodriguez because he used their photos in his magazine but never paid them.
You two ladies posed for some photographs that were in the defendant's magazine. You claim that he promised to pay you. He didn't. Is that what this case is about?
Yes, it is.
Well, who's going to speak first?
I would like to.
What's your name?
Jennifer Kaufman.
Okay.
We met Dave through some mutual friends, and we met at a local restaurant. And we had discussed, he said he was going to do some catalog work and a lot of different stuff, and we were excited for him, and we had discussed doing some pictures for him. And so...
He wanted to set up a photo shoot for the bathing suit company.
For the bathing suit company.
Yeah.
And we went, he set up the photo shoot. Well, we didn't make the first one. And at the restaurant, he said, well, at the sign a release, if we like your pictures, and we'll go from there.
The photographer then called us and insisted that we come on Father's Day and do this. And they said if they decide to publish our pictures, then we will then sit down and talk about a contract and be compensated for our work. Then some girls come up to us and said, yeah, we saw your picture in the San Antonio Sports Magazine. We were like, what? And we never signed anything. May I also add there's pictures floating around the internet.
So what you're telling me is you didn't have a contract with him?
We were supposed to, if the pictures were to be published,
the pictures, they didn't,
then we would sit down and talk about them.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do for a living? What do you do for a living?
We're entertainers.
And I
What
do
kind of
stand-up comedy.
entertainers?
We're both topless entertainers, and I do stand-up comedy.
Well, if you're topless entertainers and do stand-up comedy, then you know about contracts. So you're going to do these pictures, right, for some sort of compensation if the pictures were published. But you hadn't discussed the compensation with him.
If they decided to use our pictures, then that's what we were to discuss.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Did you ever hear speak when spoken to? Sit down. I'm not ready for witnesses yet.
Okay.
Good. So you hadn't had an amount of money that you agreed on, even if they used your pictures.
Well, we said to them, we're missing a day of work. They know the money that we do make when we work, and it's a very hard lesson. We did learn a lesson from this.
Good. So what are you here for?
To be compensated for.
Be compensated for the work that was done.
And
well,
our
how
pictures
much
are
do you think? How much do you think you should be compensated?
$750 for each job.
And how many jobs did you do?
2.
You each did 2?
The first job we did was for a clothesline. It was runway modeling for the other photographer.
Well, don't tell me about the other photographer. You're talking about this. You're talking about this swimsuit issue, right?
Right. Yes.
So you think you should be compensated $750 a piece? That's $1,500, right? What about $500 a piece for the day? No, I'm just asking. What about $500?
May I say I have no animosity toward Dave. It has nothing to do with. It's about work. It's about the job
And
that we done.
after-
We're not
after we
compensated
did the
for.
photo
We
shoot-
trusted in his word, and that's what
Right.
was
Well, you know, if that was the
It was
case, if she had no animosity toward me, she called my advertisers trying to say that I was a liar. I mean, I go on my
Never
word.
said that. Never said that.
I don't have any proof to show you, but my clients call me and say, you know, we have 2 girls calling trying to get our insurance company to pay them money. And this is one of my clients, I can't say who they are, and they said, why were they calling me? I have nothing to do with your
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
You took pictures of them, correct?
I didn't. A
Well, your
photographer did.
for
Yes.
your magazine.
Yes.
And you make money from this magazine from selling advertising space, I assume.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
So it would seem to me that if you sold advertising space, and this is the way you make your living, then you compensate the people who work for you. So you use their pictures.
Yes.
And how did you compensate them?
Okay, this is the deal.
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Not here's the deal.
Okay.
You use their pictures in a product that you made
Yes.
from which you make a living
Yes.
from selling advertising.
Yes.
And my question to you is, how did you compensate them?
I told them they would get trade, that they would get a swimsuit. The company said they would provide each girl a swimsuit.
Why would we
May I
want...
just put your hand down.
For their services, for posting in the magazine.
Are you kidding me or what?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
And I'm not going to hire 2 strippers. I'm going to go after a modeling agency. That's what I would do if I'm going to pay anybody
First
to
of all,
model my
stripper, it's
magazine.
not what you do, it's who you are.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Bikini models Jennifer Kaufman and Kim Smith say magazine publisher David Rodriguez published their photos without paying them. David claims they agreed to let him use the photos for free.
Did you give him the swimsuit?
Well,
not well.
Yes, one of them has a swimsuit.
The one that they were wearing
One
that
of them,
day?
yes.
The one that they were wearing that day?
Yes.
Well, you know, you can't go out and sell those things again. I mean, you can't go out and sell them once you use it.
Exactly.
You know, once you use it,
Yes,
you bought it.
exactly.
So you're telling me, Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
You expect me to believe, sir, that you got all the free talent to make your magazine, and in exchange for that, they were supposed to get a bathing suit.
Yes.
I don't usually ask these questions because it's not a good idea. Lawyers should never do that. Why would you think that they would do that?
This is the reason why.
I'm waiting.
Every year, I have an annual swimsuit issue. I get tons of photographs from women who want to be in the swimsuit issue. It's one of my biggest issues of the year. I don't pay one model to be in my swimsuit issue, not one. Out of all the models that I used, I have 13 models. I have these 2 girls saying they want to get paid. 2 girls out of 13 models. Does that make any sense there?
Can I see the magazine, please?
Well, we don't know what they discussed with them, but what we discussed with him is totally different.
Well, I have
No, let me tell you something. You didn't really discuss anything with him because when you discuss something with him, then you make a price. I could just as easily say to you, listen, ladies, you didn't discuss with him what the price was for your work that day, which is what you're supposed to do. So I believe that you should be compensated. Looks to me like you had a pretty good time. $50 seems like a nice amount of money. I mean, I could say that to you. You're supposed to be smarter. I mean, if this is your business, if you're in the entertainment business, you're supposed to use your noodles.
But the fact of the matter is, too, that they contacted me. Here's the deal here. She called me wanting to be in my swimsuit issue. So I said I would meet with them. I met with them right on the table. Think of it. I have all these models. I mean, I have real models. I mean, I could have, if I was going to pay anybody, I'm going to hire a modeling agency. I'm not going to get.
Do real models not get paid?
Well, let me ask you.
I'm not going to hire 2 strippers. I'm going to go after a modeling agency. That's what I would do if I'm going to pay anybody to model on a magazine.
First of all, stripper, it's not what you do, it's who you are.
Okay, well.
Let me ask you this question, sir. They took a lot of photographs of these young ladies, right? Where are the photographs that they took of these young ladies?
The photographer has them. They are his pictures.
Around the internet.
Some of them you have.
Yes.
Because you clearly went through some of them.
Sure,
and,
to edit it and go through it and decide which ones were the best, yes.
Well, let us assume for the moment that there was some sort of a misunderstanding. And in addition to being compensated by getting a swimsuit, and quite frankly, ladies, I can understand why ladies who are in the entertainment field would like to have the kind of exposure that this magazine, I mean, it looks like a perfectly nice magazine. It's got a picture of nice young ladies in bathing suits and very athletic-looking young men. I mean, there's nothing untoward about these pictures. Why you might want to have your picture in this kind of magazine, right? Mm-hmm. I assume you like that idea.
Yeah, you like
right?
it, sure.
I assume you like that idea.
Sure.
Okay. And the money wasn't really that important to you because if it was that important to you and if it was your business, you would have made a price with him and you would have entered into a written contract with him.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I don't take much stock in the fact that there was some sort of a breach of contract. But Mr. Rodriguez.
Well, can I say something? Okay.
I'm not going to take any longer with this case than it's worth. It's not worth a lot, sir. I've already told them that they're not getting $3,000, they're not getting $1,500 because you didn't have a contract price, and I don't intend to make a contract now when there was none before.
But do I get anything for the models that now, since they ruined it with the swimsuit issue, they do not want to give the models that I owe swimsuits to? Now I have to, what do I do now? What do I do now?
Listen, what am I, your mother? What am I, your mother? You got a countersuit here? You have a countersuit here?
Well, I didn't. There was not time.
Time, shoulda, woulda, coulda. You know, you're a businessman. I'm not your mother. I don't intend to solve all your problems, sir, and stop chewing gum in my courtroom. Listen to me. Listen to me.
Yes.
You have some pictures of them that I think that they would probably like to have.
Yes.
Wouldn't you like to have the photographs,
yes,
please?
we would.
That would be very nice. At least they could put that in their portfolio, right?
Well, since they're the photographer's pictures,
I'm talking about the ones, you
I have. Yes, yes. Gladly, I'd give them to him.
Perfect. By tomorrow. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy, 17-year-old student Amanda Armas, says classmate Regina Camacho, also 17, attacked her. Amanda is suing Regina for $5,000.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom, please. Your Honor, this is case number 455 on the calendar in the matter of Armas versus Camacho. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats.
This suit has to do with an assault.
That's correct.
And damages that you are asking for.
Yes.
For an assault that occurred about 2 years ago.
Yes, that's correct.
You were both in high school at the time. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you know each other in high school?
Yes, we did.
So there was a lot of gossiping. That's what this all started about.
Yes, ma'am.
And you went to her house.
Yes, ma'am.
Why don't you tell me why?
There's just been a lot of hatred between me and Amanda, and it just got to the point where it needed to be stopped. Not stopped like what had happened, but we needed to talk about it, and what came out of it was a fight.
That's all very soft. Why was there a lot of hatred?
Just gossip, just talking trash about each other.
Like what?
Just basically, she would tell someone that she didn't like me or that
Your Honor, I never told anyone.
You mean she told people she didn't like you?
And vice versa. I mean, I did the same about her. We didn't like each other since like the 8th grade.
Good, so you didn't like each other. What caused you to get in a car and go to her house?
On Halloween, we were out trick-or-treating, and it was a bunch of us, and we started, like, joking about it. Like,
Joking about what?
Going to Amanda's house and confronting her. And we ended up doing that. We ended up going to her house. She came outside, and we started talking about it. We started arguing back and forth.
Well, just a minute. Did you knock at the door? How did she come outside?
2 of my friends called her outside.
And she came outside?
Mm-hmm.
She by herself?
No, she was with a friend.
She was with one friend?
Yes.
And how many friends were you with?
Quite a few. I couldn't tell you exactly.
And how did you get close enough to her to get physical?
Well, my witness confronted her first and just said that we needed to talk about a couple things.
We needed to talk?
That me and Amanda needed to talk about a couple things because of all the problems that we had between each other.
Yeah. And then what happened?
And then I went out there, and we started arguing back and forth.
What do you mean you started arguing? Let's hear about
I asked her about the things that she was telling people.
That she didn't like you?
Right.
And what did she say to you?
She denied everything.
So, what was next?
And we just continued to argue back and forth, and then someone pushed her into me. And that's when we began to fight.
Someone that you were with?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you hit her?
Yes, ma'am.
You can't do that. You think that you were right?
No, I don't justify that, but I mean, there's only so much you can take from anybody.
So far, I didn't hear anything terrible. I didn't hear anything terrible.
When people are talking about you, it tends to get on your nerves. And
get used to it. People aren't always going to say, oh, she's lovely, Miss Camacho, she's lovely, she's sweet, I like her, she's the best thing in the world since, apple pie. They're not going to say that all the time.
There's people that are going to talk about you, yes, but when they constantly do it, it's going to bother you.
So it bothers you. It bothers you. There are lots of things that bother Bird. How were you injured?
I was diagnosed with a malalignment in my back, and I had a black eye.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me. The black eye, yeah, I can take that, but I'm not the one that kicked you in the back. I'm not the one that sent you to the chiropractor.
Who did?
Someone that was with me, which later on became her friend.
But somebody that you brought there kicked her in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
How many times were you either kicked or punched?
I don't remember. Everything went so fast, Your Honor, but I do remember it was repeatedly. If you'd like, I have x-rays here and also...
X-rays. If I could read x-rays, I wouldn't be here.
I also have pictures.
Pictures I could read. You don't want to say anything.
Yes, I do.
Oh, God. She wants to say something.
I think it's a good idea, Judge.
Oh, please. Why don't you step up here? Tell me who you are.
Regina's friend, Valeria Barca. I was there at the time when they fought.
What do you have to contribute to this case, madam?
That she did not kick her in the back. I was there. I grabbed the girl off for her, and I was the one who broke them up.
Are you wonderful? Sit down.
Judge Judy will continue in a... Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. High school student Amanda Armas is suing another student, Regina Camacho, for assault.
Is this your daughter? Yes. Could you step up here, please? What did you do to her after she did this?
When she came home to tell me that she had done this, I restricted her. I reprimanded her.
What did you mean you restricted her?
I restricted her for a month from going out, having any social activities, and I told her it was wrong for her to have gone to this girl's house to do what she did. At the time that she did what she did, it was at the spur of the moment. She wasn't thinking. When she came home, she understood it was wrong.
And she came home and told you about
Yes,
it?
she told me right away as soon as she got home that night.
Did her mother call you?
Her mother did not call me. I had no contact from them until later when the police tried to contact us. They never did call us again. But I was more than willing to settle anything that they wanted.
That's not true.
No, because I never heard from you.
I'm curious to find out what happened with the police. Could you step up here? You're her mom.
Yes.
Did you report this matter to the police?
Yes, ma'am, right away.
What happened with the police? Because this was very fuzzy in the complaint.
Okay, when the police came, the police had stopped them already once, but they didn't know what had happened yet. So when they came to my house, they told us, and we described them to the police, and they said, oh, well, we just stopped them. They were running. We stopped them and asked them why they were running. They said, oh, somebody scared us. Right.
Well, why wasn't this complaint ever followed up?
It was.
By the police?
There is a police report.
But she was never arrested.
No.
They said that they contacted her father, and her father said that she had left to Las Vegas
Right.
and got married.
That is not true. I mean, it was very strange to me why the police never followed up on this assault. They certainly should have. That doesn't necessarily mean she's got to go to jail for 7.5 to 15, but
exactly.
It certainly means that there should be some indication that this is the kind of activity she's involved with, because I'm looking at the smirk on her face, right? And it's irritating. So, Mrs. Camacho, they're suing for damages. Now your daughter looks like a perfectly healthy young woman, which means that she goes to school and she should get a part-time job in the afternoon in order to pay these damages.
She is working, Your Honor.
Good. Then she's going to pay for damages because she's responsible for the injuries to this young lady. But she is going... Yes, you want to say something?
But her depression and her withdrawal from school, being afraid to go to school because she was constantly harassed, to where she, up
Just
to
a
this
second.
day, doesn't go to
Miss
school.
Armas, your mom says that you withdrew from school.
Yes.
Is that after this attack?
Yes, it was.
Why did you withdraw from school?
Because everywhere I walked down the hallways, they were always teasing me, always telling me things.
Or harassing her.
Harassing me.
Who was?
Regina.
Her friends and her.
Oh,
Shh, just a second. Like what?
Asking me what I'm doing next Halloween, asking me how my eye was, asking me if my back was okay. Very
But in a smirky
sarcastic.
way. Yeah, sarcastic way.
So you dropped out of school?
Yes.
You didn't drop out. You
No,
changed
she
schools?
went independent study.
How had your grades been before?
I was an honor roll student. I have been my whole life.
What?
Your Honor, I don't believe that my daughter still continued to harass her because the
You weren't
harassment...
there.
She harassed
You
me
weren't
for
there.
years.
Because I know I wasn't there, but I know my daughter. She doesn't lie to me. She is very honest with me. I've taught her that.
Your daughter came home and told you exactly what happened that night, Miss Camacho, because the police were involved. If the police had not been involved, your daughter would have told you nothing. And there isn't a question in my mind that after this incident was over, they continued to make her life miserable when she was in school. She and her friends. But she started it, which means they destroyed what sounds to me was a very successful career in high school. Because socially, if you're taunted when you're in high school and if it's uncomfortable, you just don't want to go back. So your daughter's going to pay for that. And you're going to pay for it. If you're smart, you'll make your daughter make up the money. But they're suing for $5,000. And I'm giving it to them. Judgment is for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Parties on Eastwood versus Orozco. Step forward, please.
18-year-old Maria Eastwood is suing her friend, 20-year-old Sylvia Orozco, for wrecking her car after a night of drinking.
Miss Eastwood, you and the defendant, according to your complaint, were out for an evening, doing a little drinking, partying, bar hopping. Is that right?
Correct.
She was the designated driver?
Yes.
And she wrecked your car?
Yes.
You want her to pay for the damage?
Yes, I do.
She says she gave you some money. Did you give her some money?
Yes, I have receipts right here.
How much did she give you?
$600. Actually, it's $750 because Carissa, my witness right here, she was there that night, and she paid for the impound because the car got impounded, and it was $175 or something like that, and I gave Carissa $150, so that went towards her car too. So it's $750. Excuse me.
Talking about for the damage to the car. You gave her $600 for the damage.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Plus the.
I don't want to bring Chris up here. You look as if you're freezing.
No.
Miss Krista?
Not yet.
Huh?
Not
Did you
yet.
know you were coming to court today? Krista, hey! You think that that's an appropriate outfit to wear to court?
Yes,
Did you
that's
dress
what I did.
split, or is that the way you put it on this morning?
That's the way it is.
Better just sit right where you are.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. Real people. Judge Judy. Maria Eastwood wants her friend, Sylvia Orozco, to pay damages for her crashed car after a night of drinking.
Now, how much was the car to be fixed?
The total damage, Your Honor, was
I want to see the estimate.
$2,507. I have every estimate, everything that's been paid towards the car. I have pictures, my statement, the police report, the impound, everything that you can need is all there.
Now, you want to explain to me why you think you're not responsible for all the damage to this car?
Because I was doing a favor as to her because she got drunk. And then when they told me to go get the car, I went to go get the car. They left. They took a taxi cab somewhere else. I waited for half an hour in the area thinking that they would call me. They never did. So I drove her car all the way back to Carissa's house. And then from there, finally, I got a page, and that's when I drove to get her because she ended up going home with some guy. So I went to go pick her up, and that's when I got in the accident. I was trying to get her because she was drunk. She was throwing up on the
Tell
street.
me about the accident.
The accident was I was driving on 880, the freeway, and I was turning onto 101, and there was a car in front of me, and she ran out of gas, and it was raining really hard. So when I pressed on the brakes, I just kept going.
So you were going too fast to stop.
I was only going 15.
You hit the other car in the rear.
Yeah.
So it was your fault.
Excuse me, Your
So
Honor.
yeah, it was
What?
my fault.
I believe that Sylvia did tell me the next day that she was driving a little too fast, but I have no proof to that documentation.
Doesn't make any difference. She damaged your car. Now, what kind of car was this?
A 91 Geo Storm.
91 Geo.
Correct.
Did you buy it new?
No, it's secondhand. But
And how much did you pay for it?
$5,500.
How many estimates did you get?
I only have one estimate listed in there, which is the body work.
Is your car currently being fixed?
Body work? No, I don't have the money to pay for the body work.
What did you do with the $600 she gave you?
Oh, she paid me 4 installments of $150, and that went towards the amount paid to fix the engine. When she wrecked the car, she wrecked the front end.
Clearly, there's a lot of damage to this car.
Yeah.
The estimate that you got for $2,500 is not outrageous, considering the kind of damage that you did to this car.
Yeah, but I mean, she gave me the one estimate from the body work, which was $630, and she never gave me anything else after that. So I mean,
Did you tell her how much it was?
Yeah, she told me, but how do I know?
Things happened gradually. I thought when the car first broke down, it was towed to a shop.
All right, I don't want to go into it. Listen.
It's a long story. But if she was getting
But I
money,
mean, I
if
was
she was
trying
going
to pay for
me
it. I
money,
got 2 jobs
she
to
should
pay
have
for
asked,
it.
Your Honor. She should have asked for proof. She should have. I offered.
I asked you proof, and you said you were going to bring it to me
do me a favor.
to pick up
Jason,
money.
to be quiet, please. I'm really
Thank
tired
you.
today. $2,500 based upon what I see. Usually, when you come to court, you should have 3 estimates, not just one.
I'm sorry.
Do you understand?
This is my first time in court.
How long ago did this happen?
November 22nd.
23rd.
Were you pretty drunk that night? Right here.
I drank too much, past my limit.
How
I
old
know
are
the
you?
limit. 19.
How old were you then?
18.
You didn't drink at all?
I had some during when we first left. On the way up there, she stopped at a liquor store, and all 3 of us were drinking up there. But
You're supposed to be the designated driver, not the designated drunk driver.
I wasn't drunk.
How old are you?
I'm 20.
And how old were you then?
20.
Let me tell you something. There is nothing less feminine, less attractive than a young woman drunk. Nothing. Nothing that I could think of right away, anyway. I'm sure there are things that are less attractive.
Tell me about it.
Of course, and slits up into your navel is pretty unattractive in court. In any event, you were supposed to be the designated driver. You didn't do the right thing. You were certainly older than
I
she was
felt
by
like
a couple
I was
of...
doing the right thing.
No,
I
you
was
weren't.
helping
If you're
her
the
out.
designated driver, madam, you're not supposed to have any alcohol. Designated driver is the person who's not supposed to drink any alcohol.
But I wasn't going to be the designated driver because I have a restricted license. I knew I couldn't drive. I never said to her, yes, I'll be your designated driver. She just kept saying she wanted me to drive.
$2,500. She gave you $600. That leaves $1,900. Now, I want to tell you something. I think that because you own a car at age 18, you have a certain responsibility. And one of the responsible things that you have to do as a car owner is to make sure that the car is not used in an irresponsible way. And the only way you can do that, madam, is if you're not drunk. If you want to drink, take a taxi cab. You used your car. What?
I took the responsible action, and I decided if I'm going to drink, I'm not going to drive. I think that's a responsible decision at my age.
But you knew I
There are
couldn't drive.
55-year-olds that go out and drink and still attempt to drive. I knew if I'm going to drink tonight, I'm not going to drive.
But she knew I had a restricted license,
No,
so
I
why
did
did
not
she
know.
put it up on me?
Excuse me, I did not know. If I did, I wouldn't have.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
You also gave her $150, is that right, to get the car out of impound? Nah, I'm going to give you credit for that.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Excuse me, that's included in the $600.
No, it's $750.
You gave me 4 payments.
I gave you 4 payments. I paid Carissa $150 for the impound because Carissa paid for the impound. So
Well,
that's a total
I
of
didn't receive that.
$750.
Just a
That's
second, but you had to get your car out of the pound,
Okay,
didn't you?
that's fine.
You had to get your car out of the pound. In total, if I were to find that she was responsible for the entire amount, she would have to give you $1,750. But I find that you were at least partially responsible for going out, getting drunk as a skunk so that you couldn't drive your own car. So I'm going to give you $1,500. Judgment is for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Thank you.
Back row to your right, please.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. Case.
Parties on. McIsaac versus Coletti. Step forward, please.
22-year-old Keith McIsaac claims neighbor Dennis Coletti, 29, ran his truck over his lawn and destroyed his cesspool. Dennis is countersuing Keith for a cracked windshield.
Wait till you hear this one.
Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Neighbors.
Somewhat.
What does that mean?
We're a few houses apart.
I didn't say next door neighbors. I said your neighbors.
Okay.
And you got a new truck.
Yes.
And you were a friend of his?
Yes.
So you wanted to show him your new truck, right?
Well, yeah, I wanted to show him an accessory I added to the truck.
So why don't you tell me what you did?
I called him up. I asked him to come down to my house. He said he was very busy. He had a lot of things going on, and that he wouldn't be able to make it down to my house right away. I said, well, I'll come over and show you. So I drove up to his stoop, across his grass, and parked next to his stoop and got out and showed him my truck.
Across my grass.
Across your lawn.
Right. Well, he's done it to me in the past.
Just a sec. I don't care whether he's done it to you or not. That's not the subject of this lawsuit, sir. The subject of this lawsuit is 5 minutes after you drove your truck off his property, what happened?
My cesspool caved in. It was a little more than 5 minutes, but it caved in within half an hour. The whole thing caved in.
Well, cesspool's 50 years old anyway.
Shh. Hey, don't talk to him. Talk to me. Can I please see the pictures of the damage to the driveway, to the lawn? You have estimates?
Yes.
Let me see them.
I have the paid cesspool bill, which when I gave to him, he crumpled up, ripped up, and threw at me. And I have estimates, which the work isn't done on yet.
What are you showing me here?
I'm showing you the collapsed wall, the collapsed rail tie wall that fell in.
When
My
did you take
shrubs,
these pictures?
When it happened.
When it happened?
Yes.
And what was the total estimate to fix this cesspool?
Total estimate for the cesspool, I believe, was $1,200.
And what are all these plantings here? You got 5 azaleas, boxwood trees.
Those are the trees that I lost in the cave-in.
You didn't lose any trees in the cave-in. You didn't even take care of your stuff in the beginning.
First of all, I lost all those trees. Those are the estimates I got on the trees that I lost. The
Show me.
shrubs.
You never watered your shrubs. They're all dead.
Do I look like I need help from you?
No.
I mean, you were foolish enough to begin with, right?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Keith McIsaac says his neighbor, Dennis Coletti, ran his truck over his lawn, destroying his cesspool. Dennis says Keith cracked his windshield.
How old are you?
28.
Is this your house that you live in?
Yeah.
It's your house. You own this house?
Yes.
Who else lives there in the house with you?
My wife and child.
Did you fix the cesspool, I hope?
I fixed the cesspool. It took me 3 days to get the money up. I had to pay cash for it. And when I asked him for the money, he told me I could, why don't you just use an outhouse?
Oh. This bill that you got for concrete and all that other kind of stuff, $1,625?
Right.
What was that for?
That was for the driveway. I caved in.
The driveway caved in around the cesspool?
Part of the driveway caved in with the cesspool, when the cesspool caved in.
Just a piece of it?
A piece of it.
But you had to replace the...
Well, I had, you know, if it was going to be replaced at one part, why should I have to suffer and look at that when he drove on my lawn?
So you had the whole thing done?
I didn't have it done yet. That's just an estimate. I have to, I'm trying to get the money, you know.
All right. Sir.
Yes.
Your answer says that you did him a favor because the cesspool was 45 years old and would have caved in anyway sooner or later. That was your answer,
well,
right?
Every other cesspool in the neighborhood has caved in at one time or another, except for maybe one or two.
But you pushed his you pushed his a little bit quicker.
Well, my truck didn't fall in with it after I left his property. His cesspool happened to cave in as a coincidence.
That helped it out.
It's a terrible coincidence, but it did happen that way.
Oh.
Now that I have a figure on here on the cesspool and the damage on the cesspool from these bills, let's talk about your counterclaim. Wait till you hear this counterclaim.
Would you like to see the pictures of him driving on my grass?
I don't care about him driving on your grass, sir. I don't care about him driving on your grass.
Well, it's just the manner in which we visit each other, and
That's
you
not
know,
on the,
maybe
it's not on
it
the
is
grass.
childish.
The pictures that you have does not show the car on the grass.
Maybe it's childish behavior.
I'm
but
going to give you 3. I'm going to count to 3, and then if you both don't shut up, I'm going to throw you both out. I won't hear your case. Do you understand? All right. So you're counterclaiming for $300. You want to tell me what kind of damage you did and when this was?
Well, the dollar amount that the estimate was changed to $119.08, based on an estimate I got. I was under bad information when I gave that $300 claim.
$119.08 for what?
A windshield, my wife's car.
All right. Now tell me about the windshield.
We went away on vacation, my wife and I and my child, and we were good friends, and Keith used to house it, and I have dogs, and he would at times when I left the house for extended periods of time take care of the animals in the house and watch over the house and feed my dogs and whatnot. And we came back from our vacation to find our dogs were never fed, and my wife's windshield was broken on a car. That was the only damage that I could put a dollar amount on. Outside of everything else he did in disaster.
$119.08 is for the windshield.
Yes.
What happened to the windshield on the car?
I have no idea what he's talking about with the windshield on the car.
When did this happen, sir?
When we came back from vacation.
When?
Oh,
month, year?
June of '96.
June of '96?
Yeah.
What a life.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
All right. June of '96. I mean, you're going to go back in history? We're going to go back to the year of the flood? If he didn't fix the windshield on your car, when was the first time you told him you wanted him to fix the windshield on your car?
When we came back after I realized it was broken. And he said he didn't break it.
So, did you sue him?
No.
So you waited until this?
Yes.
Good. Goodbye on the counterclaim. You owe him $2,825 so he can fix his driveway and he can fix his cesspool. You're 28 years old. You're supposed to be a responsible human being. You have a wife. You have a child. You don't take a truck and drive it on somebody else's lawn. That's stupid. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Here you go, man.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge
versus Ferguson. Step forward, please.
36-year-old antique dealer Dana Ferguson is suing her father, businessman Frank Ferguson, 61, for stealing antiques and artwork. Frank is countersuing his daughter for her latest unpaid loan.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 469 on the calendar in the matter of Ferguson versus Ferguson. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Gentlemen, have seats.
Miss Ferguson, this is your father.
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
And you claim that your father has some valuable pieces of antique and paintings that belong to you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
And he said that he made a loan to you. Is that right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
One of many that he's made, but the last loan was $2,000. When was that made, sir?
That was made on May 23rd, 1995.
And that these things were given as collateral for that loan.
No, Your Honor.
Is that right?
That's right.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. So why don't you tell me how your father came into possession of your things?
I had purchased a home, and I rented a truck. The truck broke down. I took care of an elderly stroke patient 6 days, 6 nights. I was out of time, out of desperation. I had rented trucks many other times.
Come on, just let's get to it, please.
I'm sorry. Anyway, I asked him. He agreed.
You asked your father?
Yes.
To help
He owns
you.
a trucking company. He agreed. I never saw my things again.
That's not what you say in your complaint, madam. That's not what you say in your complaint. You don't say that you didn't get any of your things. You say some things were missing.
The things that he took from his truck, I never received.
You want to respond to that, please?
Yes, Your Honor. I own a trucking company. Dana lost her house in Woodland Hills, or Agora Hills, she got thrown out. She asked me to store this material. I had stuff in my warehouse for over 3 years. She bought a house after she had a settlement. I sent 7 loads of her stuff. I give her a little Toyota pickup truck to take a walk through my warehouse, to take anything that she thought was hers.
How much after the move did she come to do the walkthrough and you sent 7 loads of stuff to her house?
It was within weeks.
And how long ago was this?
Oh, this was 2 years ago.
Is that when you moved?
No, Your Honor.
When did you move?
I moved in October of 1994. He
Okay,
continued
just a
to
second.
Put me off.
Just a second.
I'm sorry.
1994
Yes, Your
is
Honor.
when this happened. So we're now talking 4 years ago almost, right? 4
Yes,
years.
Your Honor.
Now, he says that he stored stuff for you.
He did not store. There was never permission to store. I never...
He says that he sent 7 loads of stuff to your house.
It never came to my house.
Just let me understand this. This happened in 1994.
Yes.
Right? Now, when did you borrow $2,000 from your father?
I borrowed money from him on May 23rd, 1995. I was under the impression he would still relinquish all of my items to me. I had no inclination that he would ever. What father would steal from their daughter?
Just a second. He's not suing you. You're suing him.
No, what father would steal from their daughter?
I'm not sure whether he did. What I want to know, madam, is why, if he had your stuff in 1994, and you didn't get your stuff in 1994, so you were angry, I assume, right?
You know what? I wasn't angry. He kept telling me that I would get it. He couldn't get a truck. I kept offering trucks. It was like one excuse. You don't know this man. One excuse.
Well, I don't know him,
another.
but you know him. Listen to me. I don't know him, but you know him well enough. You borrowed another $2,000 from him. Tell me about the $2,000 that you borrowed from him.
Well, he must have trusted me to do that. I trusted him.
Ms. Ferguson,
I trusted
why
him.
did you borrow $2,000 from him?
I borrowed it out of necessity.
Well, for what? What did you tell him? Tell me about it. You called him?
I called him. He said he's going to need more copies of my appraisals of my pictures. He wanted something else as collateral. He said that what he had...
Just a second. We didn't get to the collateral yet.
Okay.
You called him up and said, I need money.
Right. He said...
Well, tell me about the conversation, madam, slowly.
Okay, I'm trying to...
Called him up and you said, I need money. Right? And did he ask you what for?
Yeah. Yes.
And what did you say?
I said, well, after purchasing my home, I was in between jobs. May I borrow this? When you give me the rest of my stuff, I will, if I need to sell it, I'll sell it. Because he had everything I owned. But I trusted him. He's my father. What reason would I not have to trust him? I wouldn't lie about this. There's no reason for me to. He's taken my whole life away.
I'm still not following your story, madam. You want to tell me about this?
Okay, it's not the first time she needed money. She's an older lady now. I figured she needed responsibility. Last time she needed money, she needed $3,500. I told her to go to her attorney that she's handling the case. I'll give her the 30. She had a suit for damage. She got hurt in an accident. I love this girl terribly, but I want her to grow up and take responsibility. So I says, I'll give you the $3,500, but you've got to make sure I get it back. I have young children. I've got to make sure they're provided for. The court case was settled. I got my $3,500. Everything was fine. I get a phone call. She said, Dad, I need money. I can't make my payments on my house. I need $2,000. I says, Dana, I will not give you any money unless I have something in collateral. By this time, I had nothing. So I met her at this restaurant. I was with my nephew and one of my children, my younger ones. Let her make the note out. I give her the 5 $100 cashier's checks plus $1,500 in cash. She went out to her car, unloaded the stuff in a
Unloaded what stuff?
Stuff. I mean, she had a statue, some paintings rolled up.
Mm-hmm.
I had that as collateral. I didn't even know if it was worth anything. I just said I want her to have responsibility. I can no longer just give her things. She has to take responsibility.
Okay. Good. Stop playing with the papers.
I'm sorry.
Stop playing with papers.
Pardon me.
A couple weeks later, she calls me up. I have to have my stuff. I've got to sell it. I said, Dana, you've left it for collateral. You've left it for collateral, honey. You've got to take responsibility.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
I'm humiliated by him. How embarrassing to have a father like this. I can't even walk into an art gallery anymore.
And later today.
It has cuffs, and so where I threw up was on this side, but when they dry cleaned it, they uncuffed it. Some throw up was still here.
How lovely.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Dana Ferguson claims her father stole antiques and artwork. He says the pieces were collateral for a $2,000 loan.
I was at Lake Mead 4th of July weekend. All the families invited. All my daughters and my youngest daughter came up. Mark and his fiancée was there. She got sick, and they went home early. I get a phone call that Dana, her boyfriend, and his boyfriend's mother broke into the house.
Who did you get a phone call from?
Mark.
Mark, step up here. Okay, you're out on this trip. Is your father?
Yes.
My stepfather.
Stepfather?
I was on vacation at Lake Mead.
You went home early?
Yes.
And what happened when you went home?
The next morning, we were home, received a knock on the door. It was Dana and her boyfriend. She wanted to come into the house and get her stuff. I said, I know nothing about this. My stepfather, Frank, was on vacation. You'll have to wait until he gets back. I tried to close the door at that point. They pushed the door in, pushed me to the ground, roughed me up a little bit, came in and started taking things. I yelled at my fiancée to call the cops. She did. They came. The cops stopped them from taking the stuff, and they left.
Does that sound familiar to you?
Your Honor, it's twisted.
Did you go to the house?
Yes, after I was told everything was sold.
Just a second. I don't care what you were told. Did you go to the house when your father wasn't home?
Yes, I was instructed to do so by my mom.
I don't care what your mom told you.
I know. You're right.
Police were called?
I wanted them to arrest me because then somebody would defend me. Somebody would have seen that all my things were there.
Listen, I believe your father, madam. I believe your father that he lent you $2,000. You acknowledge that he gave you $2,000 and he took things as collateral.
Have you seen the note, Your Honor?
What note?
This is the note. It only states 2 items.
Let me see.
And here's what he sent me only 2 months later. Okay.
Okay. This says that you have 2 items, so as held as collateral. And do you still have these 2 items in your possession?
She broke into the house and took one of those 2.
Which one did she take?
The statue.
Is that the bronze?
Yes.
Your Honor.
Mother and child?
Yes, just she only had one of those.
Your Honor.
And the other one is an Erte.
Yes, I had it at the time.
Okay.
Luckily, the police made her put it back.
Your Honor.
What?
The van was searched. Everything was taken out. I wasn't allowed to. Nothing was relinquished back to me. Nothing. I didn't receive anything. I didn't take anything out of his house. I never asked for anything that belonged to him. I was willingly going to give him that $2,000. I had asked him, please allow for me to give you the $2,000 so I may have everything that belongs to me.
So why didn't you give him the $2,000?
Your Honor.
Who are you?
My name is Oscar Dustam. I'm a witness.
What did you say?
He never wanted to collect the $2,000. My family and I collected the money, and at that time, I spoke to Dana and tried to get in touch with her father, and he refused to get her things back.
Just a second, sir. Did you ever have a conversation with him?
No.
So you were going to get $2,000 and give it to her?
Yes.
But she never gave it to her father?
No, he refused.
Well, did you hear him say, I refuse?
Over the intercom, Your Honor.
Are you her boyfriend?
It's on a tape.
Yes.
Yes, what?
Yes, I'm her boyfriend.
Are you the one who broke into the house when he wasn't home?
I did not break into the house, Your Honor.
Never broke in.
Are you the one that went into the house to retrieve property?
No, Your Honor. I stepped into the door, and by the time this gentleman, the stepson, came, he was feeling bad, and he came and he tried to push us back, and everything started just going chaos.
Just a second. What right do you have to be in his house?
I was not in his house. I was at the door with her.
What right do you have to be in his house?
I was permitted to come into the corridor.
By whom?
By him. He allowed me. He opened the door and allowed me in. And once I was in, then he came after me.
What were you going there to do?
I had my box with all of my receipts, and I said, please, just give me...
You were going there to take property.
To take what belongs to me.
You were going to his house when he wasn't home to take property. Is that what you were doing, madam?
There was somebody in the home. I would have...
Listen. This is baloney.
Can
Listen
you
to me.
See my certificates?
I don't want to see your certificates.
He victimized me because he knew he can get away with it. He's done this to a number of people. You don't know this man.
I don't know him, and I don't know you.
I know him now.
Listen to me. I don't know him, and I don't know you. All I know is the story that you're telling me doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
It doesn't make sense. And common sense usually is right. It doesn't make sense that your father, who you asked for help, took your property and stole it. And after he stole your property, you called him up and asked him for money. He lent you money, and he wanted collateral. And you gave him collateral, and then when he wasn't home, this makes sense, when he wasn't home, you, your boyfriend, and your boyfriend's mother went into the house without his permission.
Everything was there, Your Honor.
It was there. I described everything I owned.
We didn't even have to go into the house.
I thought you said, sir, that you
wouldn't have
listen to me. How could you stand there and tell me, sir, that everything was there when you just told me 2 seconds ago that you never got past the front door?
Please
Everything
don't make
was
him
hanging
right again.
on the walls. Your Honor, you can see pictures of her.
I don't know what this is about. I don't know the history of this family. Clearly, it's a pathological situation.
I would never lie, Your Honor. These things belong to me. I don't want what doesn't belong to me. I never asked for what doesn't belong to me.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Dana Ferguson claims her father stole antiques and artwork. He says the pieces were collateral for a $2,000 loan.
According to your father, has always been this way. Is that right?
No, Your Honor. He'd been through therapy.
What about you?
I had to.
For a long time?
On and off. Yeah. But nothing to, because you have this as a father, of course.
Listen to me. If you have this as a father, and if you've been in therapy for years because you have this for father, you don't call and ask him for money. How old are you?
I'm 36.
Well, there comes a time you got to stand on your own 2 feet,
You're
madam.
right.
You're
I bought my
absolutely
own
right.
house.
So you got to stop.
I moved out when I was 18. I was the only one with a relationship with this man.
Well, you don't have one anymore. It's too bad. I am not convinced, madam, that he stole your property. And, sir, You have the collateral.
Yes, ma'am.
Do what you want to do with it. That's all.
I sold it to pay the doctor bills.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
This is so wrong. You didn't win again, you scum. I thought there would be justice in this world. I really thought somebody would come to my aid. There's a day it's going to come, and he's going to have his day. And I'm so sad. I've lost everything that I own. I'm humiliated by him. How embarrassing to have a father like this. I can't even walk into an art gallery anymore.
Oh, the next case.
Parties on Moffitt versus Scott. Step forward, please.
18-year-old nursing assistant Tina Moffitt is suing her cousin, 26-year-old Cotilia Scott, for ruining her fake fur coat.
This is your cousin?
Yes, it is.
You borrowed her coat?
Yes, I did.
And you got sick all over it?
Yes, I did.
Why? Drinking or just sick?
Drinking.
So you drank, you got sick all over her coat?
Yes, ma'am.
You want a new coat?
Yes.
And how much did you pay for the coat?
I paid $178.46.
And when did you buy the coat?
My fiance bought the coat. On the paper it has October 27th.
When did you borrow the coat?
January 17th.
All right, so Miss Scott, why don't you tell me why you don't think you're responsible for buying her a new coat?
Well, first of all, when I borrowed the coat from her, I went out, had too much to drink, I got sick. The next morning, I took the coat to the cleaners. I had it dry cleaned. It should have been fine. I picked the coat up, and it has cuffs. And so where I threw up was on this side, but when they dry cleaned it, they uncuffed it. So when I inspected it and rolled the cuff back up, some throw up was still here.
How lovely.
And he said, if you give me a couple of minutes, I'll take care of that for you. And so I said, okay. So I waited a few minutes. He gave me the coat, and I looked at it, and I'm like, well, it's wet. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. I just steam clean it, and when it'll dry, it'll be fine. So I said, fine. So I pulled the plastic down, and I drove the coat to her. She called me later at work, and I never looked at the belt. It's kind of a rope belt. She was screaming and yelling. The tassels were unraveled, and this side of the coat had dried, and it was all matted and clumped together, you know, like fur was missing.
All right, that's more information than I have to know.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
You borrowed the coat.
Yes.
Why did you borrow her coat? Did you like it? You were going out someplace special?
Well, where I was going, I have a coat. It's an expensive name brand coat that I left for her to keep while I borrowed her coat, which was more of an evening coat.
So you borrowed her coat because you liked it?
Yes, ma'am.
You just bought it. See that coat?
Right.
I didn't ruin the coat. The cleaners ruined it.
Listen, go take it up with the cleaners.
Okay.
She doesn't have to have your coat with your DNA on it, right?
Yes.
You have the coat with your DNA on it. Right? Do you have a problem with the cleaners? You go to the cleaners and say, you ruined my coat. Because in actuality, Miss Scott, it is now your coat. Judgment is for the plaintiff in the amount of $178.46. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out the back door to your right, please.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And
Parties on Dixon versus Dixon. Step forward, please.
after co-signing for a loan, David and Annette Dixon want David's son, 30-year-old Michael Dixon, to pay them back for his repossessed truck. Michael says the debt was paid.
Order. All rise. Quiet in the courtroom. Now, this is case number 440 on the calendar in the matter of Dixon versus Dixon. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mr. Dixon, this is your son.
Yes, it is.
And some time ago, according to your complaint, he wanted to buy a truck.
That's correct.
Couldn't get credit on his own,
That's right.
so you co-signed for the truck.
Yes, I did.
How old were you at the time, sir?
That would make me 19.
And you're 30 now?
Yes, I am.
And how long did you have this truck?
Roughly 2.5 years.
And then it got repossessed
That's correct.
because you stopped making.
Payments. Yes.
And then you were about 20 years old, so everything was terrific, and your father says that the credit company came after him.
That's correct, yes. They came after me, and they repossessed it, and they auctioned it off, and the balance was due on it was $4,400. And they were going to come after me and take me to court if I didn't start making payments. So I agreed to start making the payments of $200 a month, and I told my boy that this is going to have to be taken care of, and he just basically said it wasn't his problem. And
He was 21 years old at the time.
no, I didn't get the paperwork until '96, July of '96, when they came after me.
So for 8 years, they were quiet.
No.
No, it was.
That's wrong.
It was repossessed I think in '89.
No, 90.
I mean, or '90.
You're Mrs. Dixon?
Yes.
I am.
Are you his mother?
No, I am his stepmother.
When did you become his stepmother?
In 1989.
When, for the first time, did you hear from this credit company?
On July of '96. We got some documents in the mail from this lawyer that was taking over the case to retrieve the money that was owed on it.
Now, Mr. Dixon, so what you're telling me is between the time that the truck was repossessed
Yes.
in 1989 until 1996, you knew nothing about the fact that there was a deficiency when the truck was repossessed?
I was not aware of it, no.
Now, you were made aware, however, between 1989 and 1996 that there were monies owed on the truck?
No, I wasn't. Chrysler sent me a letter saying that it was sold for more than it was owed.
Let me see that.
I don't have. It was 9 years ago. I don't have that. I don't keep that records
Your
that good.
Honor, I have paperwork here showing about the repossession, the year. I have letters from the attorney.
Does anybody have any letters between 1989 and 1996?
Yes.
Can I see them?
Yes. But, Your Honor, what gets me about this whole thing is our grandchildren.
It's been on my...
Our presents, for the kids' presents are sitting right here that they didn't get for Christmas.
I called my dad, told me to come by with him.
This has all been because of all this has been going on.
How many children do you have?
I have 3.
Your Honor, this is the second time we've taken him to court. 1996, they pulled the same thing. They moved, did not let us know where the kids were living. And also, my husband finally got to see him at Christmas down at his other son's house.
That was in '96.
That was in 96.
So
They kept us from us for 5 months, grandkids.
he just stated to me that the way things are at this point, it wouldn't be a good idea for us to see the kids, the
You've
grandchildren.
always been welcome. You have always been welcome.
Mr. Dixon, what's the problem, while I'm looking this over, with your father visiting with the children?
I called him and told him he's welcome to come anytime he wants.
But see, you heard him say, I was welcome, not my wife.
That is correct.
Why is that?
Because the reason we're here is because of her.
Why?
Because.
Well, tell me. Why do you think the
because
reason?
this is what she does for a living.
What do you mean this is
Sues.
What?
No, come on. That's only giving me one-word answers.
Well, she's got several other cases that she's suing other people for, and that's what this is all about.
Well,
if it was between my dad and I, we wouldn't be here.
It's not
You think
true,
so?
Michael.
Yes.
Well, let me tell you this. This is a confession of judgment that I'm looking at. Have you seen it?
No. Judgment? For what?
Well, it's a confession of judgment before a lawsuit. And it's against your father by the finance company. Whereas he agrees to pay the balance due, which was $4,400, sir, so that they wouldn't sue him.
I've got paperwork that says it's a paid repossession, that I owe zero.
Well, but if that's true, sir, then you should take that up with the credit company. You should take care of what your father has been paying, and then take it up with the credit card company.
It's not my. I've done my time on it. I mean, yes,
sir.
It's been a paid repossession. I had paperwork showing that it was paid.
All right. First, A, you don't have the paperwork to show me. B, even if you did, Your father is the innocent party. You bought the truck. You used the truck. You stopped paying on the truck. Defaulted on the loan. They repossessed your truck, right?
That's correct.
And he's paying. Now, if he's paying, and he's paying because the credit company is wrong, why should he have the aggravation of having to deal with them when it was your problem? You were guilty. You bought something you couldn't pay for. You stopped paying for it. They came and repossessed it. He was a good guy and co-signed for you, right?
Yeah.
So you got to take over the aggravation. Why should he have the aggravation?
Well, maybe we got to check into the records. Maybe they're wrong.
Who's wrong?
Wherever they get this paperwork.
Right! What do you mean we? You. Not him.
I'm not being sued by them.
Michael, it's your problem, sir. You're a grown-up. Your father merely did you a favor and said, I will guarantee the payment. Certainly they can go after him. But it's your problem. Don't you understand that? Sir.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
To each other, because you annoy me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. David and Annette Dixon say they had to pay the bank for his son, Michael's repossessed truck. Michael says the repossession took care of the debt.
Michael, there comes a time you have to grow up, sir, and accept responsibility for what you do. How many kids do you have?
3.
You take care of them?
Oh, yeah, very well.
Do you have a father who tried to do the same for you? You have brothers and sisters?
Yes, I do.
Do you see them?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you see them?
Yes.
And as far as your kids are concerned, you never use your children as...
I never have.
Good. All right.
Never have used them as a tool.
Then don't. Don't. It's the wrong thing to do. In this situation, this is your aggravation. Somebody's got to be aggravated with this lawsuit. Bird doesn't want to be aggravated with this lawsuit. Right? Right? Your father shouldn't be aggravated with this lawsuit. If somebody made a mistake, then you should say, Pop, they made a mistake. Let me take it over and I'll look into it. And I'll take care of it. So, Michael, fess up.
Your Honor.
Listen, let me tell you something about being a stepmother.
Yes.
You're supposed to butt out.
Okay.
Because they'll end up, hopefully, still loving each other. But not you. You're supposed to be in the background, and you're not supposed to instigate trouble. You got it? Good. All right. But meanwhile, you're suing for $4,000. Now, is that what you have actually paid?
No, we have paid $1,600 on this. He has paid me a total of $400 in 14 months.
So you have been making some payments, sir?
Yeah, I gave him just to keep her happy, to keep him happy.
So you acknowledge some sort of responsibility?
Just to keep my dad and I on good terms, I would have done anything.
Well, that's good. So far, you've paid $1,600. Is that right?
Yes, we have.
And according to you, Michael, you are going to be able to establish that this truck was sold without a deficit, correct?
Yes.
Good! Then I am going to give you, sir, an interim order. Your out-of-pocket so far is $1,600. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Good. In the event, of course, Michael, that you cannot establish to the satisfaction of the credit company that they are mistaken, this is without prejudice to your father, if he has to, coming back here, if you refuse to take on the obligation for the remainder of the bill, coming back to court to seek the remainder of the judgment. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. Judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,600. That's all.
Excuse, you may step out. Out this way, man. Back, go to your right, please.
Used to be real tight. Yeah, used to be. We used to work together every day.
And he said, I can come over.
Don't you remember
But she cannot.
Because we wouldn't be here.
That's...
If it was just you and I, we wouldn't be here.
That's not right.
Michael?
You know we wouldn't.
Versus Harvey. Step forward, please.
24-year-old Stephanie Hunter says her former roommate, 24-year-old Katrina Harvey, owes her for long-distance phone calls.
All right, this dispute is about a phone bill.
Yes.
You were living with the plaintiff, is that correct?
Yes, I was.
How did it come about that she was living with you?
Me and Katrina have been friends since we were about 16 years old. We were really close. She stayed with me before she moved away. I guess she was having problems down in Carolina where she was at. She decided she wanted to come back to California. I told her if she wanted to come back, you know, she can come stay with me until she got on her feet. And she did that.
And the only arrangement was that she paid for her own long-distance phone calls.
Well, what it was is she paid me $100. She only stayed a month, and she was supposed to pay for her own phone bill. Yes.
Okay.
All the phone calls that she made, she was supposed to pay for it.
Okay. And you say she left and didn't pay the phone bill.
Right.
And how much was her phone bill?
The phone bill was $362 and...
For 1 month?
For 1 month. It was $362.65.
Okay. Your defense.
When I moved there, originally I was there for like 3 weeks total. And when I first got there, I gave her $100. And she said, the only thing I want you to pay for is for your phone calls. So I said, well, apply that to the phone calls.
She's lying.
Just a second.
No, you're lying.
Just a second.
She's lying.
Shh. Hey.
Okay.
First of all, madam, what you're telling me now is nothing remotely similar to what you put in your answer, which I have. I mean, that's a good story.
No, but I told
But that's a good story. But in your answer, you say...
Well, she just told you that I gave her 100.
Listen to me. In your answer, you say that you agreed to pay the phone bill, but the problem was you couldn't tell which phone calls were hers and which phone calls were yours.
Yes.
Because you were dating her brother.
No, she was dating my brother.
Your brother.
I don't even know your brother.
Listen, hey,
Since when?
Miss Hunter, listen to me. Don't talk to each other, because you annoy me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She has extra children.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Stephanie Hunter is suing her former roommate, Katrina Harvey, for unpaid phone bills. Katrina claims they both made calls to the same phone number, making them equally responsible for the phone bills.
She was dating your brother, and both of you were calling your brother, which accounts for a lot of the long-distance calls, and that's your defense. It had nothing to do with this $100 that you say you gave her on deposit.
Both of us were not necessarily calling my brother. My phone calls were made to, when I moved out here, and I was not having any type of problems, I just decided to come back. When I decided to come back, she, God, I forgot my thought.
Because you're lying.
No.
Miss Hunter, listen to me. Miss Hunter, if you speak to her again, I'm going to dismiss your lawsuit.
Okay.
Understood?
Okay.
And then you're going to leave here with nothing.
Okay.
Not even the opportunity of having it heard.
Okay.
The calls that I were making were to my place of employment because I transferred out here. That number and my son's father is the only. I've made some calls to my brother, but not as numbered, not as nearly any of that.
All right. Now, 803 is where you came from, is that right?
Yes.
Area code 803.
Mm-hmm.
And what's 813?
I have no idea what 813 is.
The highlighted portions are Trina's calls.
Judge,
excuse me?
The highlighted portions are Trina's call, and Judge,
just a second, you say that, but what I'm trying to figure out is most of these calls are to an 803.
Mm-hmm. That's Columbia, South Carolina.
Right.
The ones that are circled in blue are mine. They're bottom portion. There's about 5 phone calls that are mine.
I understand that.
And that's to Newcastle.
Listen
the
to me.
813, I don't know.
St. Petersburg, Florida. Who lives in St. Petersburg, Florida?
Her friend
Who knows?
Angela.
She has a million men. Who knows?
Listen to me.
Knows in Florida?
Hey,
who knows?
One more time, and then you're both gone. Do me a favor. Would you add up all these Newcastle calls here for me?
Sure.
And how does she want a reconnect fee when her phone was already disconnected long before
Katrina,
she ever received that bill?
Just a second.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. You was calling me from a payphone harassing me.
No, I was.
Yes, you were.
Trina, that was after that.
Very good.
$50.73, Judge.
Now, $312. How much, madam, did you give her towards your phone bill?
$100.
I don't believe you. I don't believe that the $100 was towards that, because if it was, you would have absolutely included it in your answer. So forget about the $100. You didn't give her $100 towards your long-distance bill as soon as you walked in.
Yes, I did.
Well, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. You lived in her house. There was gas, there was electric, there was food, there was all the
I was there
other
for
things.
3 weeks, and
So
that
what?
is nothing that I would not have done for her.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I don't believe you, but let us assume I did believe you. You still would have owed her over $200 for the phone. How much did you give her?
I'm just trying to tell you that she was calling my brother just as much as I was using that phone. That's how come we cannot determine which one of those calls were hers and what were mine.
I can determine it. 803 is where you came from, correct?
Uh-huh. And my brother comes from 803, too.
Just a second. Do you have your last month's phone bill, the phone bill?
Yes, I do.
A couple of months ago. Can I take a look
Yes,
at
I
it?
do. And I also have my...
Shh, don't.
Okay.
Just give me what you have.
Okay. Here you go.
Because
This
what I
one,
would
too.
like to do is just to compare to see how many times she called her brother in previous months.
She did not get in
Call her
touch with him
boyfriend.
until she got in touch with me.
You know, you got a good story all the time. I'm just going to look at this and see. Just a second. Now, she wasn't very close to your brother. No. She wasn't very close to your brother. And this is for what month? June? Oh, yes, this is the same month. Yeah. And then you come. I do not believe, madam, that you gave her $100 in advance towards your long-distance bill. I don't believe that at all. What you owe is $312, and the judgment in this case is for the plaintiff in the amount of $312. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next judge...
Nelson, step forward, please.
46-year-old teacher Leslie Machman is suing her daughter's best friend, Melissa Nelson, for back rent and an airline ticket. Melissa is countersuing for damages to her car, bed, and cowboy hat.
Order. All rise. Quiet, please. Your Honor, this is case number 444 on the calendar in the matter of Hotchman versus Nelson. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, sir.
Ms. Hotchman, according to these papers, you've known the defendant since she was in kindergarten. She was a friend of your daughter's.
That's correct.
Daughter's name is Jennifer.
Yes.
See, I read papers. And there came a time when you decided that you were going to let her rent a rental house that you had, along with your daughter and a third roommate whose name is Ben. Do we have a Ben here?
No.
So the three of them are going to live in this rental property that you had.
Yes.
And you moved in
Yes.
with Jennifer and Ben.
Correct.
But your daughter Jennifer was a slob.
Yep. Sure was. Still is.
Was and is. And so you evicted her. Told her, go find someplace else to live with your cats.
Or clean up.
Or clean up. Good for you. How many cats did she have?
3, I think.
And 2 dogs. And 2 ferrets.
Anyway, that left you and Ben in the house.
Correct.
And there were some problems, but whatever the problems were, you say that she owes you some rent.
Yes.
Because you moved out. Right?
Well, she evicted me.
Because you weren't paying the rent.
Correct.
And in addition, you were all supposed to go on some sort of a trip, skiing trip. And you purchased airline tickets, and you would promise to pay her if she bought your ticket. Were you going as a family?
Right.
So you purchased a ticket, and she didn't go.
Right.
Well, that's not exactly how it happened.
I understand that.
Okay.
So that's what we have. We have the rent, and we have this airline ticket. How much in rent do you say she owes you?
$639. That's subtracting what she paid.
Okay, so she owes you $631 in rent. And how much was this airline ticket?
$262.
And you couldn't get the money back?
No, it's a non-refundable ticket, but it's a reusable ticket.
Oh, do you have the ticket?
I have the, this is from, it's an e-ticket from United Airlines.
Okay, that's an electronic ticket.
Yeah, so she can use the ticket some other time.
All right, let's first, she acknowledges that she owes you some rent, which is why she was evicted, but I want to hear about this airline ticket.
We go to Vail every year as a family, and my daughter Jennifer was going along with my son and another friend of ours. And so when Melissa was moving in latter part of August and September, Jennifer says, well, gee, can Melissa go too? Because we've been skiing for the last 10 years, 15 years, whatever, together. And so I said, sure, that's great. Well, Melissa had just started a new job, and she says, well, yeah, I want to go, and I'll pay for it, but I can't pay for it right now. I said, okay. I mean, I've known her since she was 5 years old, so I have no reason to believe that she wouldn't follow through and pay what she said she would. So I agreed to go ahead and get the ticket. That way she could fly on the same plane with us and everything. Well, when the controversy happened with my daughter moving out, then there was this, I'm going to go, I'm not going to go, then Melissa, I'm going to go, I'm not going to go, back and forth between the girls. Between the girls. And I'm not sure at this point in time who finally made who caused the both of them not to go, because it was a controversy between Jennifer wasn't going to go, she was mad at me. Then she said, yeah, I will go, but then Melissa said she'd already said she was going to work, and back and forth. And I told Melissa, I said, the bottom line is the ticket is yours in your name, and you can use it again some other time. It's not refundable, but it's a reusable ticket. And she still owed me the money for it. I mean, I can't use it. It's not in my name.
What she's saying is not far from what you say in your answer, well, Melissa. You keep shaking your head no. You agreed to go on the trip.
Yes, I did.
And then your friend Jennifer, her daughter Jennifer, was annoyed with her mother because her mother said, get your cats and your ferrets and your dogs out of the house because you're making my house a pig pen. And so she's mad at her mother.
Right.
She says, then I'm not going on the trip with you.
Correct. Well, when she said that, then I had taken a week off work. I wasn't going to take a week off work, so I then told my boss that I could, in fact, work and to please put me back on the schedule. Well, then Jennifer changed her mind, and I couldn't then go to my boss and say, oh, by the way, now I've changed my mind, so can you take me off the schedule again? And Leslie had told me, don't worry about it. I know it's Jennifer's fault that you can't go. I wasn't going to go if Jennifer wasn't going to go. And then when I couldn't go, Jennifer had then changed her mind and said she wanted to go. But then when I wasn't going, Jennifer wasn't going to go.
Melissa, who's the innocent? Who's the innocent person?
As far as what, ma'am?
As far as this whole scenario. You wanted to go on a trip with them. You said, please pay for the ticket because I want to go, but I can't pay for it right now. Is that what you told her?
Originally, yes.
Yeah. So she bought the ticket. She's out the money for this ticket, $262. Then you and your friend and everybody else got annoyed, right? Your friend got annoyed. She wasn't going to go. You weren't going to go. There's only one innocent person. That's her. She's out $262.
So it wasn't my fault that they got into a dispute and Jennifer then changed her mind. Was I going to go and ski by myself?
Why not?
Would you want to go and ski by yourself?
Listen, let me explain something to you. I don't go on top of a mountain where it's 4 degrees below zero, where I'm petrified to get to the bottom of that mountain, when I could be at the bottom of the mountain, sitting in a lodge, drinking a large grog. So I don't go on top of a mountain. I wouldn't ski by myself, and I wouldn't ski with the whole Coxie Army. That doesn't mean that you can't go skiing by yourself. You can go skiing by yourself. You never know who you'll meet if you go skiing. Right? Ooh. Lots of nice people go skiing.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Leslie Machman wants her daughter's best friend, Melissa Nelson, to pay back rent and the cost of an airline ticket. Melissa wants damages for her car, bed, and cowboy hat.
She was nice enough to buy your ticket. You owe her for the ticket. Now, I'm going to get to your counterclaim. You're counterclaiming because you say she damaged a lot of your property.
Correct.
So you tell me about the damage to your property.
Well, in the whole moving process, she broke into my bedroom and took it upon herself to pack all of my things when I was at work. called me, left a message on my voicemail saying, "It's trash day today and the scavengers are out. I suggest you come and pick up your things off the driveway." When she was moving all of my things out of my room, she crushed my cowboy hat and ruined this one as well. I have receipts for both of those.
What do you mean she crushed it?
Well, I keep them, I love my cowboy hats, okay? I keep them in these sweater boxes upside down like they're supposed to so they don't lose their shape. She took the sweater thing out of my closet and put it in a box and crushed them. I can't wear that, nor can I wear this. It's got creases. People would laugh at me if I put this thing on and wore it. They would laugh at me.
Bird, would you get me the black hat,
Would
please?
you? I mean...
Would you get me the black hat, please?
That's right, that's... And this one, too.
See that one.
This one has creases all over it.
Oh, God.
And it's completely lost
God,
its shape.
you better go to the doctor. It's got creases all over it. Just a second.
Doing a good job, there,
What?
Judge. Doing a good job.
What?
But look at the brim. That's what the main concern is here.
Oh,
it's completely
God.
lost its shape.
You better get a life, madam. Just a second. Bird, would you do me a favor? Sure. Give it back the hat.
Sure.
Thank you.
And then also she was painting the house. Her and her son were painting the house. And in the process of painting the house, the wind apparently was blowing a little hard that day and blew overspray all over my car, all over my brand new car that I just got a couple of months ago. Mm-hmm. So now I have little white specks of paint all over my car. And I took it to find out how much that would be. So
Does the car thing have any ring of truth to it?
This is the first I've heard about it today. I didn't know anything about it until today. This or the cowboy hats.
I just fixed the cowboy hats.
Ma'am, no, seriously? This is a $189 hat. This is not fixed at all. I cannot wear this hat.
Just a second. Who paid $189 for it?
I paid $189, and I have a receipt for that.
Just a second. How dare you pay $189 for a hat and not pay her rent?
I've had this
Just
hat.
a second. How dare you pay $189 for a hat and not give her the money that you owed her
The
for
hat
rent?
was purchased long before I ever even moved into the house. I've had this hat for a long time.
How long have you had the hat?
I can tell you exactly. I have a receipt. 2397.
How long did you live in the house?
4 months, 5 months, maybe.
August. She moved in the latter part of August into my house and then moved down the street.
I lived in her house before I moved into the dungeon because we had to get the old roommates out.
When you said you lived in her house, you had a room in her house?
Yes.
Did you pay rent?
No.
How long did you live there?
A couple of weeks. 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
How long did you
About
live?
3 weeks.
And she just let you come there because she's fond of you?
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Mm-hmm.
She was out of town. She was on a cruise.
What difference does that make?
Oh,
It's her house.
Okay.
$631 for rent and $262 for the ticket. Just bought yourself an electronic ticket. $893 is what you owe her. Is that right, Bert?
That's absolutely right, Judge.
Very good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $893. Your counterclaim is dismissed. It's nonsense.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It's very sad that I mean, she's like a second mom to me. It's very sad that it even came to this.
I feel really bad about this because she is like a second daughter to me, and she pushed me to a point where I had to move her out of the house because I had to rent the house to somebody else.
My mother would never even think to do this to her daughter.
By the way, I didn't know anything about the hats. I've never seen.
Bolo Talo versus Delalo. Step forward, please.
Judy Bolotalo says her 10-year-old son, Ricardo, was kicked by Marjorie Delalo's son, 14-year-old Jacob, after Ricardo hit him in the head with a basketball.
You're 9?
10.
10? You're 13?
14.
14 now. So this happened about a year ago?
Yes.
Your families were out at an amusement park, according to the papers that I have. Some sort of an amusement park?
Indoor playground.
Now, tell me your name.
JR.
JR, you were playing basketball. Were you playing with this young man?
Yes.
What's your first name?
Jacob.
Now, when you were playing basketball, you were sort of fooling around with Jacob, right?
Yes.
And what were you doing with the basketball in Jacob's head?
When I threw it and then he was gonna get a ball, and then it accidentally hit his face.
Well, JR, did you hit him in the head a couple of times with the basketball?
Only once.
How many times did he hit you in the head with the basketball?
About 4 or 5 times.
And what did you do after he hit you 4 or 5 times with the basketball?
Well, I told him the first time to stop, and after the last time, I kicked him in the stomach.
And then did he stop hitting you in the head?
Yes?
Had you ever done anything like that before?
No.
Why didn't you just walk away from him?
Well, I was kind of... It was right at the moment. I just didn't think about it.
So you just kicked him?
Yeah.
He's a little guy, right?
Right.
Not a particularly smart thing to do.
Right.
Now, JR, you know how important it is to tell the truth here in court?
Yes.
And I don't care what you told your mother before. I don't care what you told her before. You have to tell the truth here. You understand?
Yes.
Were you fooling around when you were hitting him in the head with the basketball?
Yes.
Did he tell you to stop?
No.
Did he tell you to cut it out?
Yes.
And you did it again?
Only did it once.
No. That's not true. That's what you told your mother. But that's not true. You were playing around. You hit him a couple of times in the head with the basketball. And it wasn't an accident.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
I don't think that she is responsible for that.
I don't care what you think. I'm the one who has to make a determination as to what's fair.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Chuchi Bolota'alo claims her 10-year-old son, Ricardo, was kicked by Marjorie DeLallo's son, 14-year-old Jacob.
Now, after he kicked you, did it hurt?
Yes.
So what did you do?
Well, I was in the ground and I was crying, and then he told his mom, and then his mom came, and the jungle came, and then the jungle called the hospital. The hospital came, picked me up. Now I went to the hospital, and then I started feeling better.
Did you feel better as soon as you got to the hospital?
Well, not that much.
What do you mean, not that much?
When I was on the on the car, I was feeling a little bit better.
When you were in the ambulance?
Yeah.
You were feeling better. Did you know each other from before?
Yes.
Had you been friends?
Yes.
Now, this lawsuit is about, who are you?
I'm Priscilla, her mother, and I was there when JR was hurt, and I was by his side, and he wanted, when the ambulance came and put him on a gurney, he wanted to get off the gurney then, and he said he was fine, and he did not want to go to the hospital then.
Yeah, but it's a good idea, because you never can tell with kids. You know, kids can say, I feel fine, I want to go play, and they can have some internal damage that you can't see. So you don't take the word of a 9, 10-year-old that they feel fine, they want to go out back and play. You agree with that, right?
That's what the paramedic said also.
That he should go and be checked out.
That he should go.
Absolutely. So that's the right thing to do. There's only one issue in this case. You're suing them over the ambulance bill, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And you think that they should pay the whole thing?
No, I asked her if she can pay the half.
Well, I think that that's very fair.
Mm-hmm. Because accident happen anytime, especially with those kids.
Well, it's an accident, and aside from the fact that your son was fooling around with this basketball, hit him a couple of times in the head with it, he was acting like a fool. He's much bigger. He should not have kicked him, right?
Right.
So you think you're responsible for half the bill?
Well, I told her that I would pay for part of it because I felt that, it, you know, being as what happened, that I could pay for part, but, you know, since JR started the whole thing, I didn't think I was responsible for the entire bill.
Well, I don't think you're responsible for the entire bill either, but I think you're responsible for half. What was the whole bill for the ambulance?
$768.80.
Do it for me. $768.
I got
384, Judge.
You have something important to say?
Yes. I don't think that she's responsible for the whole
I don't care what you
bill.
think.
Well,
What you think is unimportant. I'm the one. I'm the one who has to make a determination as to what's fair.
But we all objected to him going too. We offered to take him in the car to the hospital.
What does that have to do with anything?
Well,
Madam,
Yes.
listen to me. I mean, I don't know where you're coming from. The play area has a responsibility. Once the play area is advised that a child has been injured while on their grounds, they have to take every step that's reasonably prudent to ensure that the child isn't injured, not putting him in your car. Sit down.
Judge Judy is ready to rule.
Look, it's a good lesson for you. He's little, you can walk away. Sometimes it's better off to walk away from a situation than to react to it. Jacob, do you understand?
Yeah.
And I think probably if you had it to reflect on, since you look like a nice young man, you would have just walked away and say, listen, he's a little kid and I'm not going to get involved, right? And you can't always rely on the fact that you're a little guy, right? And that you can fool around with somebody else and they're not going to retaliate. Do you understand?
Yes.
You know, you were hitting him in the head with the basketball. So he can either react or he can walk away. He chose to react. It's not the smart thing to do, and each of you has to be responsible for it. So I'm giving you half of the amount of the ambulance that took your son to the hospital, which is $384. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment.
Versus Cutler. Step forward, please.
26-year-old chef John Harkness is suing his former best friend, 27-year-old printer Stephen Cutler, for a $3,000 loan. Stephen says John promised him the money after he won a huge settlement.
Order. All rise. Thank you. Judge, this is number 388 on the calendar in the matter of Harkness versus Cutler. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Sir, proceed.
Former friends
Correct.
fight over money.
Not correct.
Unfortunately.
Well, that's why we're here, sir, because this
Correct.
is a dispute over money.
Correct.
According to you, Mr. Harkness, you lent Mr. Cutler $3,000.
Yes, that's correct.
Mr. Cutler says it was a gift.
Correct.
So why don't you tell me, sir, how did this loan come about?
Well, in the beginning of 1995, Stephen was living in a house. He was renting a room. He couldn't live at home. His father, they kicked him out of the house, and he couldn't live at home. He had nowhere else to go, and he was also getting kicked out of this new apartment that he had gone into. And he came to me and said, you know, John, can you give me $5,000? I said, Stephen, you know, $5,000 is a lot of money. You know what I mean? I really can't give you $5,000. I said,
What kind of work do you do that you had
well,
thousands of dollars?
unfortunately, when I was younger, I had cancer, and I had gotten a settlement for it. And so when
How did you get a settlement for having cancer?
Well, because I was misdiagnosed for not having it. And then I did have it, so it was a big, drawn-out thing. When I was 19, I got a settlement and put it away. So
And Mr. Cutler, you knew that he was getting a settlement?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And
Mr. Cutler, you knew that he was getting a settlement?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So Stephen came to me, like I said, asked me if I can give him $5,000. He didn't say lend. And I said, Stephen, I can't give you $5,000. I can let you borrow $3,000. He said, oh, come on, you can give me $5,000. You got the money. I said, Stephen, it's not about if I have the money. I can't afford it. You know, I was going to school. I put myself through college. And that was even before I got the settlement. So I've been working hard my whole life to save my own money. He said, come on, please, please, please. You know, I said, all right, listen, I can let you borrow $3,000, but you got to pay me back. He said, well, I can't pay you back right away. I said, Stephen, I know you don't have money. If it takes you a year to pay me back, just pay me, you know, in drips and drabs, whatever you can, you know. So I gave him the money. He was so happy, you know. He said, thank you. My witness was present.
What did you write him a check?
I wrote him a check. And when I went to write him the check out, he said, don't write the check out to me, write it out to my father because I don't have enough money in my account to cover it. Well, I said, that, you know, seems pretty sensible. He was asking me for the money, so obviously he didn't have money to cover it. And he said, I need the money right away because I have to put it down on a new apartment. So I said, no problem. I wrote the check out to his father so his father could cash it. After I gave him the money, I saw him less and less over the next 6 months. Come that October, I went back to college to get my bachelor's degree. And then I saw Stephen less even more. So I called Steven up. Hey, Steve, I haven't talked to you in so long. How you been? What's going on? This and that. We talked like old buddies, like nothing had ever happened. Soon as I mentioned the money. What money? I said, Steven, come on. You know, we grew up together. What do you mean, what money? You know? He said, you said that was a gift. I said, Steven, come on. Who's going to give somebody $3,000? I was like, I haven't even given anybody in my own family $3,000, let alone a good friend. I said, I can let you, I'll let you borrow it. We said, that's not what you told me, and hung up the phone.
Okay, stop. Mr. Cutler, did you need money?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
You were working in 1995?
Yes, I was.
What kind of work were you doing?
Work and just distribution, loading trucks up.
Okay. Were you...
Work and just distribution, loading trucks up.
Okay. Were you evicted from residences at that time?
No, I wasn't.
Your Honor,
Well, tell me...
Your Honor, that's a lie.
Just a second. We let you speak. Get back in a second. You don't deny that he transferred, I'm not going to say gave, loaned, or whatever, he transferred $3,000 to you for your benefit?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Now you tell me how that came about, sir.
We were longtime friends. We grew up together in the same neighborhood. And I knew John was getting a settlement, and he said to me, he said, Steve, he said, if I ever get a large settlement, he says, I'm going to take care of you and George Altz because you guys have been my best friends for so many years. Now, that's what he said to me. He said, you guys are going to get $5,000 each and a trip to Europe, he said to me. He said, I'm going to take you to Europe on me. That's what he told me.
I'm going to take you to Europe.
To Europe, yes, on him.
Just
That we were going to go backpacking, hiking.
So did you ever do that?
No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
So tell me about the $3,000.
So as time went on, we were in the basement and together, and he said, Steve, he said, remember when I told you I was going to give you $5,000? I said, yes. He said, well, I can't afford to give you $5,000. He said, I spend a lot of money. He said, but I could afford to give you $3,000.
You mean, and that just came out of the blue?
Yes.
Just to hanging out in the basement?
Yeah, yes.
Did you say to him, what happened to the backpacking that we were going to do, the traveling
No,
we were going to do?
I never brought up Europe. I wasn't going to be greedy. I figured whatever, he was going to give me, he was going to give me.
So it just came out of the blue?
To be honest with you, it's been a few years. I don't remember the exact conversation, how it was brought up.
I do.
To be honest with you.
Go ahead.
It never took place in my basement.
Yes, it did.
When he was living in the house and he was getting kicked out, that's when the money transpired, actually. Mr. Alt was present.
He was present?
Step up here, sir.
Yes, he was.
Your Honor,
Step up here,
he's
sir.
lying, Your Honor.
Just a second. That's my strong suit, sir, to tell who's lying. What makes sense? Common sense. Yes.
How you doing?
Your name is... I'm
George
doing
Waltz.
fine. How are you doing?
Good.
Pleased to hear that. Your name is?
George Waltz. Basically, me and Steve talked about getting a loan from John. Actually, it wasn't a loan. We wanted to receive $5,000. Stephen ended up asking him. I just kind of stayed off to the side. A short time after, Steve came back and said, he's not going to loan us $5,000. He'll let us borrow $3,000.
Why were you looking to borrow money?
Because I was in debt at the time, and I had a lot of bills. So did Stephen. So Stephen said, I asked him, he would loan me $3,000. I said, I don't want a loan. If he's going to give me $3,000, I'll take the $3,000. I don't want another loan to get out of debt, to get back in debt with a friend. So I said, it's not even worth it.
Why would you think that your friend, Mr. Harkness, would give you money?
Like, we grew up together. I would. You got to understand our circumstances. We've been through a lot since little kids. I thought...
Smeltzer, I know all three of these men here for well over 15 years. When John received his lawsuit, for years, well before he received it, Steve and George had been his best friend, lifelong best friends. John had bragged countless times, and specifically, that he was going to take care of them financially and give them a gift.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Just a second. Were you present, sir, when you heard any discussion about $5,000 and a trip to Europe?
Yes, I was, many times. No. He made a lot of promises to a lot of people, not just Steve and George. I mean, he bragged that he was going to take care of a lot of people in many different ways.
Shh.
And
just a minute, a lot of people do that.
Yes, they do.
A lot of people do that.
But you got to consider the fact when best friends of this nature, they're considered like family. They grew up all their lives. It's more like family. It's like if I came into $1 million tomorrow, I'd have no problem giving Steve $5,000.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. John Harkness wants his former best friend, Stephen Cutler, to give him back the $3,000 he loaned him. Stephen claims the money was a gift.
What you, Mr. Cutler, is suing for is on a contract. You say that there was a contract, and your contract with him was that he was going to give you a gift, right?
Correct.
A contract requires, in the law, something called consideration. There has to be something that you give to him and something that he gives to you in order for it to be enforceable. Otherwise, it's just puffing. I'm going to take care of all of my friends. Now, there's a certain amount of common sense that suggests to me that you are having certain problems in 1995.
Your
that
Honor,
has a ring of truth to it, sir.
Your Honor, $3,000 wasn't going to make any difference in my life at that time.
He was getting kicked out of the
whatsoever.
Just a second.
Whatsoever, Your Honor.
Just a second. Then why, Mr. Cutler, would you think, sir, that after several years, because this transaction took place several years ago, that Mr. Harkness would at this point sue you for the $3,000?
Because he's a bitter man, Your Honor.
Why? Just a second. Why do you think he's a bitter man?
He's a bitter man because I was friends with him for a year after he gave me the $3,000. After that, I couldn't be friends with him no more because he had a swelled head and I couldn't deal with him no more. And a lot of people the same way. So
don't tell me about a lot of other people. What
two
about
years
you?
later, he calls me up on the phone and said, Steve, he says, the money that I gave you, I want it back. I said, John, you gave it to me as a gift. He said, doesn't matter. We don't speak no more. He says, I want the money back.
Never
I said, well, you're not going to receive the money.
Happened.
You gave it to me as a gift.
Nope.
And he said, well, I'll see you in court. And I said, I'll see you in court then.
Just a second. I'm going to resolve this in a minute. Did he make the check payable to your father?
Yes, he did. He told me, Your Honor, the reason why he made it out to my father was he told me, he goes, I don't want you spending it all in one place. He goes, I feel if your father is involved with it, he goes, your father will look out for the money better than you will. And that's why he wrote my check to my father.
Oh, no. You see, a very important thing for you to remember, sir, is that common sense is what's supposed to prevail in a court. If he were giving you money outright, he would have given you the check made out to you. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if you didn't need the money immediately, you could have opened up a bank account, put that check in the bank account, and waited for the check to clear. The fact that he made the check out to your father suggests to me that you needed the money immediately.
Yes.
And thank you for agreeing with me.
Sorry.
I also think, Mr. Cutler, that of all of his friends, I haven't heard of anybody else that just took money from him. Right? You haven't told me about anybody else that just took money.
I'm the only one here, Your Honor.
That just,
I mean,
there were other people.
There were other people.
No, there wasn't.
I could have brought many witnesses here, but...
Name one.
Just a second.
Why'd you bring him?
Hey!
Sorry.
Sit down now. Mr. Harkness, I am satisfied based upon primarily the one tangible thing that we know, which is that you both agree on, that you made the check payable to his father, and that suggests to me that there was an immediate need that he had for the funds,
Yes,
which
Your Honor.
supports your story that he needed the funds immediately for a new apartment, which is totally different from what he's saying is that you were in the basement of your building making out a check and you said, I hear I'm going to give you some money.
No, never happened.
Well, I know you say it never happened. So I am giving you a judgment, sir, in the amount of $3,000, which is the amount of the loan. Thank you.
Your
That's
Honor.
all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Out this way, gentlemen. This way. Out the back, go to your right.
A freak in disguise, bro.
See, that's all he can say.
A freak in disguise.
That's all he
Look
can
at you.
say.
Rip off that suit and
That's all he
the
can
white
say.
trash.
White trash with a
Mama's a freak,
with
his
a
dad's a
bachelor's degree.
freak, his whole family's
Bachelor's
freak.
degree. Ask him what degree he has. Ask him how many degrees he has. Nothing.
And now the next case.
Parties on Gendron versus Gendron. Step forward, please.
42-year-old Suzanne Gendron wants her former sister-in-law, Teresa Gendron, to return the ashes of her mother.
Very strange case. And very old. Your mother died 21 years ago, according to your complaint.
Correct.
How old was she when she died?
She was 54.
And according to your complaint, your former sister-in-law, that's you, has her ashes.
Correct.
And she's had them for 21 years.
Yes.
You want them back?
Yes, Your Honor.
First, what took you 21 years?
I have been asking her since my children were born. We had an agreement that if and when I had children, because I was not married when my mom passed on, if and when I had children, that she would give the ashes to me to watch over my children. And
when did you make this agreement?
This was the year after my mother died, and we had agreed to that. And I began asking her for them when my daughter was born. My daughter, Sarah Louise, she's named after my mom. And I have not been successful in getting them from her since then. And we need her very much.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. People, Judge Judy. 42-year-old Suzanne Gendron wants her former sister-in-law, Teresa Gendron, to return the ashes of her mother.
Hello.
How are you?
So?
I never agreed to give her back the ashes when her children were born. My mother-in-law confided in me that when she passed away, she wanted to be cremated, and she wanted her ashes thrown where her father used to dock his boat in Long Branch. I never knew exactly where this was, so I didn't want to just take her and just put her ashes anywhere. So the reason that I still have the ashes is because to this day I don't know exactly where she wanted her ashes thrown. She asked me to do this. I took it seriously, and that's why I still have the ashes. I never agreed to give you back the ashes.
Were you close to your mother before she died?
Yes, I was very close.
And did you hear her say, was she ill before she died?
No.
She was not. So this was, her death was sudden?
Very sudden. She had a heart attack.
When did she tell you that she wanted to be cremated?
She lived in Plainfield, and when she was in Plainfield, we spent a lot of time together. Suzanne didn't live in Plainfield. Suzanne lived in Montreal. And on one of our outings or trips to the shore, she told me that this is what she wanted because that's where she felt most peaceful.
That's right.
Is that right?
Yes, and I have explained to my sister-in-law that I am prepared, and I insist that we fulfill my mother's last wish. My Aunt Beth and my brother went last summer together to the exact spot where my mom wants her ashes scattered, and it was always in the agreement that I would have my mother for a short time, and then we would all go to that spot. We know exactly where it is.
Great. Well, then this is a very easy lawsuit to resolve.
We want to fulfill my mother's last wish.
And so do you.
And so do I.
Good. And when do you intend to do that?
Well, I was unaware that the aunt and my ex-husband knew or even went to this spot.
Well,
what I want to know is why they didn't include me and bring me with them so that we could have fulfilled my mother-in-law's wishes a year ago.
Absolutely. That's going to happen.
That's going to happen.
That's going to happen. When do you want it to happen is the question.
On her 25th, on the anniversary, the 25th anniversary of her death, which will be in 3 years.
No. Why would you want to wait another 3 years?
Because I don't have very long to live. I've been diagnosed with 2 different terminal illnesses. And I would like, for my children and for myself, I have some very difficult battles to fight. And I need my mother's strength. And I don't think that after 21 years, I don't think that 2 years or 2.5 years is going to hurt my mom that much. I think she'll enjoy being with me, her daughter, and her grandchildren.
Ms. Gendron, what you say is very sad, but you can't give yourself, nobody can predict the moment that an illness that you have, even if it's a terminal one, is going to cause you to leave this earth. And I wouldn't like you to live under that kind of an onus anyway. I mean, that's a terrible thing. Right now, your mother, and you acknowledge that, had a dying wish. And her wish was that she be cremated, which she was, and that she wanted to rest peacefully, having her ashes dispersed in a certain way.
Yes.
So you have to do that.
Yes.
And you have to do that now. It's been all too long delayed.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What is clear to me is that every person has the right to dictate what happens to them at the time of their death. Your mother did that.
Yes, she
It's
did.
been delayed for 21 years. It should not be delayed at all. I will make an order, and you tell me at what point you're going to be ready to go to New Jersey. That's where she wants it to be scattered. So you tell me when, and I will fix a time frame, a week or a 2-week period.
Spring.
In the spring? Step up here.
Yes.
April?
Good.
April.
How about May? May 15th. That's my daughter's birthday. She's named after my mother.
Is that a good date?
That's a good date.
May 15th?
Yes.
Fine. That on or before May 15th, the two of you, together with any of the siblings that want to accompany you, will finally fulfill your mother's last wish. Case is resolved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Please.
Thank you.
And on the next Judge Judy